This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast. We were about to talk about some real sexy stuff behind the scenes before I hit the green button. Welcome to X&C Podcast, episode 117 for Master Chief, the fallen hero. Welcome to the show. I'm super excited. I guess I got to start with Mag. Mag, my good friend from the other side of the U.S., North America, and other assorted continents. How are you today?
I gotta say, I'm excited today. We got a great guest today, and we just had some funny talk behind the scenes, which almost spilled into the show, actually, but it did not spill into the show. And by the way, it was Guardians of the Galaxy.
You try to guess what we're talking about, chat.
It was Chris. No, never guess. It was Chris Pratt from Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what I was trying to get to, but tongue-tied. Anyways. Chat, I see you guys are on fire already. I see you, Cyber. I see you, Goat. Teasy the Goat. You're in the chat. You guys saying hi to everybody. Listen, we got a great guest tonight. We got a lot to talk about. Yes, I actually played Starfield, so you're going to get to hear my thoughts about it tonight. We got Grand Theft Auto 6 leaks. We got things to talk about. Colt, take it away, brother.
I'm excited. It's good to be able to talk about something other than one game, but I'm super excited to have you here, Mag. But it is a pleasure to have a good friend of mine who just ever so briefly got to hang out with at PAX last weekend. It was last weekend. Samurai Kibiju, he's a legend, and he's a content creator. You could tell people about yourself, but it is so good to have you on the show. This is your second appearance. I always like having you on here because I get to hang out with you on other podcasts like Go Live. But tell everybody how you're doing and why you're so handsome. And go.
I don't know how to answer the so handsome question other than thank you, Mom and Dad. But no, it's good to be here. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm actually a little bit sleepy today, but I think it's because I made some homemade chocolate almonds, and I'm if anybody wants to know a little fun fact, I get weird with sugar for some reason. I love sugary things, but when I have certain things, it makes me bad the next day. It's weird, but it's the next day. It's not like the night of, it's the next day. It's so weird.
That's why I refrain from any type of sugar, corn syrup, or any type of sugary sweetness.
Podcast listeners, he is drinking a Mountain Dew. Podcast listeners, he's drinking a Mountain Dew.
Keeps, it's so good to have you. You do great content. You do some entertaining stuff. You've had a couple viral hits in your heyday. Last year or 2 years ago. But yeah, it's really good to have you here. And you've played some Starfield. We're going to talk about just the gaming news. Yeah. People are, they haven't been super reasonable lately. It's been crazy. So we'll get into it. We're going to get into some Starfield talk. And we're going to give Mag the mic for a couple of minutes about Starfield in a minute here. But before we get going, thanks everybody. If you're going to enjoy the show, if you look forward into the future and you think, you know what, this is going to be a fun show. I see a lot of great people in the chat. We've got Lethal Papa, we've got Happy Bomb and Yudani Kazada, and we've got Red Wolf is in the chat. We got some great moderators. I'm going to rattle off some amazing names while these two stretch and get ready for a show. We got to give a shout out to the Patreon channel members who are veterans of the show 9 months and longer. We've got Mark Carwell, KY Bob, Assassin Lupa, Jazzy Noop, Rick and Falon, Jason Noan, Moby Lofsinator, William Riggs, Farscape, Matt Houston, Chance Wolf, Zimic, Matt Burns, William Lanzo, Udani Kazada, Suicide King, Assassin Lupa. I said that twice. Robert Jackson, Dante Moody, Betamax, Dark CMF Gaz, Zenner White, Devario2 Gaming, Reek Havoc, V Simcoe, gosh, just remember the story I got to tell. Assassin, Poochie, Dub, Hargit Chani, Raiden Blade, Cute Respect for the Biscuit, True 77, Micah Ford, Red Saurus, Attitude Deer, Pesky Krogan, Dave's Games, Pineapple Pen, Trail Roberts, Macbound, Meat Puppet, Red Wolf, Alan Adeltry, Gamers by Choice, Jedi J Goalie. We're almost done. Rippin' 1, Highlander 001, Techo Caveman Fire 71. That blue number, good friends of mine in here. Kung Fu Hot Dog, Mag's favorite, Uncle Chowder, Shooter 2853, TextMate 3, VMAC, Cliptos, Kevin Beltran and B Martin 001. I probably have to update that. I got to tell you really quick. Keebs and I went to PAX separately, but we did get to bump into each other a couple times. We met up on purpose so that we could meet in person, which is such a cool thing to meet people that you talk to over the internet, to meet him in person. And I think I made him feel super awkward because I was like, and I hugged him.
Oh, hell no. No, dude, I freaking adore hugs. You shut your mouth. Also, yeah, Chad, I was stretching because he told me to stretch. I wasn't flexing. He told me to stretch during that whole thing.
He's like, let me just start.
I was like, just like doing all these random movements, and I was like, but no, I love freaking hugs, dude. That wasn't weird at all. It's funny because when you said that we met at PAX, you're like, we got to hang out a little bit, and I was like, he sounds bitter.
I do sound bitter. Well, I am bitter. Yeah, I mean, we hung out with the Iron Lords.
Like, I wanted to go with you. Like, fun fact, chat. We like had a meal. It was so like I walked in after going through this long ass process with security because I brought so much stuff in my bag, and then he calls me like right as I get in the building, and it's just like, so you want to have lunch or whatever? I'm just like,
after you've been strip searched and find out.
I just like go outside.
So you invited him for lunch after his clothes were removed. I get it. Okay, all right. Correct. I see where this is going. And
Xbox paid for our entire meal, and
obviously.
It was
well, you know,
obviously.
Like literally after he's like, so you ready to go in the hall? I'm just like, I forgot that I put this thingy out that I actually did meet a fan, by the way. Like I promised like a meetup greet in downtown Seattle, and I was like, I just want to see if anybody swings by, and somebody did, and it's like, okay, good, this wasn't for nothing. But then
lucky
fans. It was fun.
Mag and I don't have fans. Mag and I usually just sit here.
Well, I got people that don't like me. I have OnlyFans, but I have people who don't like me. I have people who love me. Whatever. It's a little bit of both. But don't you remember when I was in the Dominican? I had that group of kids came up to my wife and they're like, "Is that the Meg?" Right? And then she's like, "You got to be kidding me!" And so they came up and took pictures with me and stuff. And then I'm like, "Where do you guys know me from?" Of course, I was on my like 18th beer at the pool bar. And then they're like, "We watch your shows all the time, and we see your stuff on Twitter and TikTok." I'm like, "Get out of here." I didn't even get out of here like get out of here. I was just blown away. But yeah, it was pretty hilarious.
Get out of here.
Yeah. By the way, someone in the chat, Samurai, someone in the chat says that you look like me with hair. And I'm like, no, he doesn't.
I saw you smile, and I was like, I know that's exactly what he saw. Like, I disagree.
No, we do not look like alike. But anyways, listen, here's the thing. Because, Italian and Japanese, very, very similar in every way.
We're all very similar.
Yeah. We're all very short people, okay? Except for like 5 or 6 of us. Yeah.
Or the Glasses Club. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, the Glasses Club. But Matthew, I saw what you wrote.
There it is.
There it is. There it is. He goes, Mag, we just love to hate you, but we don't actually hate you. Yeah,
somebody,
we know. We know.
Somebody on the comment section of our last show said they have like a running tally of magisms. Like, so Keebs, Mag usually says, so anywho, or what are the other things he says?
I say anyways a lot.
Anyways, anywho, and some other things. Like they have a running count of you on the show. So yeah, people can't stand you, and I'm here for it every single moment.
You know what? I'm gonna start speaking faster. Actually, the funny thing is, the more people upset me, the faster I'm gonna talk. So I've just come to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm me. This is the way I am. This is the way I'm gonna be. If Samurai can do calisthenics in the background while we're doing a show, then I can talk as fast as I want. All right, and I can yell as loud as I want. But anyway, either way, let's have a great show. Colt, we got things to talk about, dude.
Let's have a good show. I think I covered everybody, but briefly, I want to do this because I don't know how many people are super interested, but I have like an hour and a half into Forza Motorsport. There's a preview build that comes in the Insider Hub, so the achievements don't show up, but I've unlocked 10 of them, which is different from Starfield, which we'll get into that later as well. But I've been playing Forza Motorsport, and I have to say a few things that I don't like about it, but I didn't do a preview video, partially because...
you ain't breaking NDA, are you?
No. Embargo broke this morning. Embargo broke this morning. Yeah. Thank you for watching out for me. I appreciate that. Heaven knows I've been there before.
I'm the mom of the group. Sorry, chat.
God, don't you dare. So, I was going to make a video yesterday, but our good friend, legendary content creator, Dealer Gaming, said that he was excited. He's been playing the game. He was going to make a video. And if you know anything about Dealer, when it comes to racing games, well, I mean, he's in the top leaderboard as a racer, but his Forza videos are incredible. And so I thought I could struggle to put together a video, but I wanted to sit back and see his. I've yet to see it yet, but I'm just saying, keep an eye out for a dealer gaming masterpiece for Forza, but I've been playing it. The first 2 opening races are incredible. They let you loose with the new Corvette and the new Cadillac V-Series GT race car, and the track looks really good. And then they have you start out with a small entry-level car. I'm trying not to bore my co-hosts. I'll make this quick. I'm trying to make it colloquial and have some stories to it. But they start you out with these slower cars, and the tracks they have you at like midday don't look very impressive. And I'm like, what is this? And so the meat of the preview is not as great as the beginning, but you're meant to only see the Builder's Cup, where you start with a 4-cylinder stock car with no upgrades, and you upgrade it as you do the practice runs, the qualifier and race. And they've improved sim things. The game feels awesome on a controller, with the controller, with the haptics that they have on the series controllers. Like, you can feel the tire slippage and stuff like that. And then on a steering wheel, which I have off camera, that feels really great too. So the previews, as I'll end this discussion about Forza, previews are super positive. People are expecting good things. They've added things where if you bump a car, the judge AI computer will judge whether it was avoidable or not. And they'll say collision, no penalty, or they'll say collision, you're at fault. They add half a second to your lap time. So there's all these things that kind of make the game feel more sim-like, and it's going to be good. So that's Forza Motorsport. Anything you guys have to ask or you want to say? Because there's performance too.
First off, really quick, and sorry, chat, if I'm loud. I saw some people saying your voice is pretty low, Colt. I don't know if that applies to if the two of us are loud.
Was that a while ago? Because I just moved you and then moved you back. But I will, while you're talking, I will look at these two things.
Let us know. Yeah, I try to lower my input a little bit in case it was just me being loud. But just trying to make sure you guys have a good time.
Check, microphone check. Okay, I'll just stay right here.
Yeah.
It should be good. Anything other than that, I probably can't change, but thank you, chat, for keeping us
if you're watching OBS, then you know. You see our levels are same as yours. Yeah, you know. Ignore them. You literally see the levels. Okay. But anyways, I see.
Do you give a flying 4 spinning wheels crap about Forza Motorsport, or what do you have to say about it?
Well, because I don't know what we can ask, because it's a preview, but I would say
ask whatever.
I'm very curious about just the onboarding feeling of Motorsport, because I've seen so many people say you play Horizon to just have a good time, just drive, just have fun driving whatever cars you want. But then Motorsport, maybe that's where you want a bit more of the sim and nitty gritty stuff. And that's kind of what I'm always curious about that game, is just how intrinsic is it to the Motorsport players, or is it pretty good on onboarding people that may have not played Motorsport? I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, there's little things that Motorsport didn't really mess with, and I always felt like they were some of the unfun, realistic things. Pitting wasn't really. You didn't have to bring your car into the pit hardly ever. Now they've kind of made it a thing that if you do it, it's more immersive, and your car rumbles as the crew comes out and fixes things because your car's not steering properly when you've hit stuff. So that's cool. Mm-hmm. And you can turn this stuff off and on, I'm pretty sure, because this is something they've added with the penalties. But the cool thing about the penalties is if I come in tight on the inside on a turn, and I'm going to pass somebody on the inside, which is where you're probably going to get bumped. If they judge me that I wasn't trying to hit the other player out, the AI player or real player, it's really cool. It makes you feel like when you take a turn, you're not just going to go in there and go, lay off me, I'm driving. So yeah. That's pretty cool. What about you, Mag? Cool. What do you think about Forza?
Here's the thing. I actually had a quick question about.
Here's the thing. That's the other thing you always say.
Oh, is that another thing I say a lot?
One.
Well, guess what?
Sleep.
Well, I mean, we are sleeping only a foot apart. Anyhow, here's the thing. By the way, before I even say anything else, Emperor Hound almost made me choke here. He goes, Mag, don't forget to take your meds before Colt puts you to sleep. When you were talking about Forza. Anyways, I want to ask about Forza Motorsport, because I've already told you guys before, I've told the chat before, I've told you before, I'm more of a Horizon guy because I've got to this point where I used to play Gran Turismo back in the day. I used to spend dozens of hours getting those licenses. Remember that? Remember doing the license driving? You have to drive 60 meters and you have to land, you have to stop right in the spot under the time limit, blah, 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 blah. So I'm wondering, are there a lot of aspects of Forza Motorsport that are very similar to, like, let's say Gran Turismo 7, the latest one that Sony came, or are they completely going in their own direction? Because I'm not really sure. I haven't played a Forza Motorsport in years. Only the Horizon series.
Yeah. I've basically 100%ed Forza Motorsport 7 from 2017, but most of the content I can't see. You can't even really go into the menus. There's all these different things that are beside the Builder's Cup, where you start with a Honda Civic per se, and from stock and build it up as you drive better, right? So that's a cool thing. Right. Like when you take great turns, when you accelerate out of turns really well, it gives you points, and you have a level up bar, which is kind of like the Crew 1, which was really critically panned, although it's a really fun game. But they brought this stuff in that, I'll say it simply like this. Forza Motorsport can be very sterile to people who enjoy arcade games, but they sprinkled these things in that make you feel like, oh, like that feedback loop and the sound and the little thing up in the corner of the screen that says, hey, that was really good what you just did. And for those of you who are like, yeah, I kind of like Forza Motorsport, I think this really sweetens the deal as far as it'll keep you moving. And then I don't know what the rest of the modes are. I think there's that one Builder's Cup thing, and then there's a whole other career there's a bunch of different modes that we haven't seen yet, but
and I would imagine this is a real car techie thing, right? Like where you can actually balance the axles, the tires. You can change the pressure of the air pressure in the tires, and like all.
What I wonder though is if they have a way of like if you don't want to do that stuff, here's a simplified version.
There is.
I think that'd be cool. Okay, yeah.
I do like the tech thing, like. Meg and I, Meg probably did some of the tweaking where you add different things. Like I go in and look at all the intakes, and I understand some of the things with suspension, with sports suspension, intake, outtake, and all that stuff for your exhaust. Well, all that stuff could be super nerdy, and I've messed with it, but there is basically an X button, auto upgrade, and it'll just say, here's all the green numbers, and here how much it costs. Hit A and you go, and I've done that a lot in Forza Horizon, because after a while, you're like, I just want to go faster, and I want to go right now.
Now, that was the other thing. So basically, well, it gives you those options. For example, like you can actually physically one by one tweak every single one of the different components of the car, or you could do like that auto upgrade feature. You know that one, like for people who want to simplify the experience and just say, you know what, auto upgrade, and you just press it and it automatically just sort of does it for you and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so there's a performance button. And then it opens up and it says, do you want to auto upgrade or you want to go part by part? And you certainly can do either, and it's just fine. Yeah. And it's been like that for a while.
Yeah, so you're catering to both audiences, right? So you want to keep it for the hardcore who really want to tinker, you know what I mean, and mess around with. Like, for example, I know that like Wandering Dutch. Shout out to Wandering Dutch, by the way. He really loves cars and he really gets into the whole racing scene, whatever else, right? And I know for sure he's really looking forward to this game. I could picture him tinkering away at like a car forever, just like being able to, balance this, change this, do this, put this, that, whatever, right? And I drive cars. I don't really know all the inner ins and outs of cars, but anyway, the point is I could see him doing something like that, or I could see someone like me who would do the auto upgrade and just want to get back out on the track, right? So,
I'm a hardcore, and I'm probably going to do that the most. What about you, Keebs?
Yeah, so that's interesting. What about I was going to say, what about you?
I think at first, like, I'd just be curious, I just, like, look at all the nitty-gritty stuff, and then once I get used to it, then I'd just be like, all right, I don't care anymore. So... Yeah, because I do think the nitty gritty is cool, but it's just like I like if there's an option, like if somebody does want to get that crazy, they got it. Or it's like Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 6, you have like the classic controls that you could do the crazy input commands, or they had a simplified version where it's like, let's just make this a bit more like Smash Bros. So
I hate that, by the way. I hate that. You can't do a fireball forward, can't do down forward high punch. What the hell's wrong with people? Everything has to be a single button. Come on, man.
I couldn't even tell you.
It's right there. I'll teach you how to do it.
I couldn't even tell you what those command prompts or whatever the movements you had to do it to do Hadouken. Yeah, ooh, I would be playing the game and go, I'm like, oh, cool, I did something on accident.
I'm gonna uppercut my cat when we're done the show. Yeah,
those are probably words. Yeah. Let's see what somebody in the chat. Matthew's asking, can you turn off penalties? Probably. I didn't even bother to look. I didn't get into the nitty gritty of all the settings, but I do want to end this. I said I was going to end this conversation about Forza like 9 minutes ago, but It happened, baby. It happened. We have 60 FPS dynamic 4K with ray tracing on Forza Motorsport. Like, we're talking a console running ray traced performance mode. I can't tell the difference. I know it sounds ridiculous, like Mr. Tech Head when it comes to the graphics and resolution and all this stuff. And I'll tell you what, this generation, when I've seen performance mode with ray tracing, like, I don't know. I went back to the 4K 60 mode for a lot of my playthrough because I'm like, it's probably sharper, and I just don't see the allure. This is going to sound terrible because this is a moment to celebrate for people about the power and what Turn 10 can do in Xbox first-party studios. But I just think sometimes cube maps with better performance is really cool. Like faked reflections can be really cool in games. We've enjoyed it for years, but they still, all three modes look great, but there is a 30 frames mode. When I say three modes, there's a 4K 30 FPS with ray tracing. Don't even bother. It's like watching an old film.
Why?
At school.
Why would you do it?
So what's the 4K 60 with ray tracing then?
Yeah, so what the hell's it?
Dynamic or not native?
That's what I said. Yeah, it's a dynamic. I think it's a dynamic 4K.
Okay.
With 60 FPS with ray tracing. And then you have a quality mode where it stays at native 4K. At least I'm sure that's what they are implying or trying to do. And then Digital Foundry will say, well, actually. But I mean, we did it. They did it. They got what they promised, with caveats, because Phil said 4K native 4K 60 with ray tracing all at the same time is kind of what his statement sounds like, and I don't think it quite is there, but still the most impressive looking racer out there at all, I think. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
I have a quick question before we move on. Just quick, you can say yes or no. Snow Dragon in the chat asked about electric cars. Why aren't there electric cars in any of these games? I wanted to know that. Like, I didn't see any in Forza Horizon. I don't see any in Motorsport.
There are.
Are there in this one?
There are. And I think in Horizon 4, there was one electric car, but Forza Horizon 5 has the Porsche Taycan, which is a two-gear EV sports car or hypercar. Right. They also have the Mustang Mach-E, which is a four-door hatchback racing Ford Mustang EV.
I raced one of those a few weeks ago.
They have another EV. But Forza Motorsport launches with a couple of EVs, one of them being that yellow GT Cadillac that's like 25 feet long.
Like where's the Tesla Roadster that like buries Lamborghinis and like literally
the
0 to
Tesla
60
Plaid.
in 1 point, it's like 0 to 60 in like 2.1 seconds. So like where's that?
I don't
know what I mean? Like I'm curious.
There hasn't been a Tesla unless Elon Musk said no video games.
I doubt that. He's a hardcore gamer.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's a hardcore gamer.
Like, has there been a Tesla in a racing game? I don't remember.
MASH, I do play racing games. I just don't play the DLCs. Because, I mean, I played Forza Horizon 5, and then that was, 2 years ago? I didn't go back and play, like, every single car. But I was specifically looking for Teslas. By the way, you were saying that Mustang EV. I raced one. Not in it. I raced against one. Closed track stuff that I do,
your Tesla?
That thing sucks. The Mustang sucks. Yeah, so just an FYI for anybody in the chat. Yeah, it doesn't really. The performance is not very. It's okay, but it's not. Yeah. Anyways, sorry, that was just a little side note.
Like a pretty heavy car, but so is a Tesla.
Yeah. Just there was more kilowatt power in the Tesla anyway. But anyways, that was it. That's all I had to ask about Forza Motorsport. Interesting though.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. We're gonna hear more about the game. It comes out in a month. I couldn't even tell you. Let's talk about Starfield. There is actually more stuff to talk about Starfield. They hit 6 million players, which a lot of people said was not a big deal. They also hit a 2 million purchases, I think, on Steam. They had at least 1 million purchases, but they had 2 million according to a estimated site. Keebs, what do you know about this? Interject
because I literally before this cast, I'm actually working on a video about this topic because I like speculating on big picture stuff sometimes. And literally, it's because I was researching this. So we don't exactly have sale numbers per se. The one thing that we've seen is the 2 million you're talking about is like just off of early access. There was over 1 million people playing on Steam, and there was over 1 million people playing on Xbox. So that means
early access means a lot of those people either got a review
the
code
premium edition
or paid for the premium edition.
Just, not review code stuff, like actual like the well, it could be reviewers, but it's like there was 1 million people on Steam and 1 million people on Xbox Plus that were playing the premium edition, basically.
So
we don't know the actual sales of the game.
Explain that right there, because you're talking about the premium edition, which is early access, which means that's not a Game Pass. That's not I'm waiting for my free Game Pass game, right? So how are you going to report this? Well, don't spoil your video, but you're working on it, but kind of give us an intro there.
Well, my thing, chat, if you don't know, Samurai Kibaji, I don't know if I'm in the description, but just FYI, I love to speculate on games with you, and I try not to do it by bashing anybody. And sometimes I like to, literally, I say as the intro, I just like to think about the big picture stuff every now and then. And I just find the success that Starfield is having right now really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't have exact sale numbers, but it's interesting because Bethesda's promoting this as like, and I don't know if they mean Bethesda like as a whole, like the publisher, or just Bethesda Software. Because I'm very curious which one they mean.
Oh, I never thought about that, because that doesn't quite cover id or
So I feel like I don't know, but yeah, they're promoting this as their biggest release ever because they reached 6 million players, but we don't know like how many of those are from sales exactly, other than the premium edition purchase people. It did top in UK. It did top in the UK recently.
It also topped in box sales in the UK, according to Christopher Dring, which I have some stuff to cover about that too. Before I go too quickly, I do want you to kind of help us flesh out this idea. And Meg, you can kind of help with your expertise as well. Meg's an expert at everything. That was like when you say, Keebs, when you say that doesn't tell us how many were sold, I would posture that Xbox doesn't really care about sold right now. They're hoping they're hoping and praying that they get early access purchases, which are easy money, on top of Game Pass subscribers. So if you're looking at, let's talk about that first couple days. What does it look like? Does it look like maybe between PC, console, and Steam, Windows PC, Xbox app, you know what I'm talking about, between PC, Steam, and console, there's probably 2 million people that paid for early access or under? What do you think?
At least.
I'm thinking close to 2, right? Meg, what do you think?
Minimum that. So, sorry.
Minimum, huh?
Yeah.
I'm not really quite sure. I'm sort of absorbing all the info because I'm trying to. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to just take in all the numbers, like all the different avenues that this game can be either purchased or accessed in any which way or form. Right? See, that's the thing at the end of the day that makes it very confusing. And I was talking about it in another DM chat that I was with a group of people, and I was saying I'd be very curious to know, not for console war reasons or this and that bull crap. I just wanted to know, for my personal curiosity, how and where people are going to be consuming these AAA games from Microsoft moving forward, right? It'd be very interesting to see. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because I think it'd be very interesting to see where Microsoft is going to look at that data and say, let's start focusing on this now. You know what I mean? Let's push PC more than the console or whatever. Let's push the Series S more than the X. Let's push the X more than PC. That's where I'm curious to see, because they see the data, obviously, that we do not, right? And they know the exact breakdown, how many people turned it on, how many people clicked on just the image and then turned it off, how many minutes they played, whatever. They know all that stuff. Yeah, exactly. You want to know, I want to know how that breakdown works, because then that will show you or give you at least a bit of a bit of a looking glass into their focus for the future as they see where the trend is going. Right? That's a very interesting thing.
What do you think their focus is for the future?
Colt, I don't know, man, because right now I know a lot of the talk is, and you see it, especially with a game like Starfield, for example, people have these beast PCs that cost almost as much as a Hyundai, right? And it can barely run the game. They're like, oh, it's chugging along here, and it's having, So now, what kind of a chance does the Series X and S have if you're going to be pushing that kind of software, right? So now, but you've heard a lot of people saying, yes, I have an Xbox, except now how many times you guys heard this? Both of you. Yes, I have an Xbox Series X or an S or whatever. However, I'm playing Starfield on PC, right?
Sure.
So you see that a lot of people are preferring to play a game of that magnitude on PC because they're getting the better performance, right? And, presumably the better performance, right? So that would be the case, right? There you go, a case in point. And I could tell you at least 24 people that I know that are saying the exact same thing. They say, yeah, I'm playing it on PC because I'm getting a better frame rate or whatever. So the thing is, if the games like that are going to be moving forward, does that mean at some point that Microsoft says, hey, you know what? Our sales and our engagement on PC is higher. Do we make a bigger push for PC? And like, I don't know. Like, dude, it's up in the air. Like, it could go in any which way
what
direction.
Does that mean? Because you bring it this push. What does that mean, push? Because they're constantly promoting this idea of we want you to play games wherever, like, on our platform, period.
Sure.
Cloud, console, PC. What does it mean to push PC?
What I mean by that is, like, I'm talking, like, even from, like, an advertising point of view. Like, maybe put, like, a stronger advertising push on Steam or on the Microsoft Store or something like that.
They kind of have done that as good point, Mag, because they have done a more aggressive push on PC in the past 2 to 3 years than they have consoles. So I see where Mag's going from, but Keeves asks a really good question. Like, if they're asking people to go everywhere, do they give a flying
they don't care.
Cool. Space?
No, wow, I've never heard that saying
piece
before.
Of space poopy.
If anybody is playing a drinking game tonight with my anyways and whatever other magisms, you just take a shot for what Colt just said. Anyways, the thing is that they don't care where you engage or where you consume. As long as you're consuming, they don't care where it is because the money is money. I mean, when they eventually get king, do you think they care what's going on with this? No, as long as you're connected and you're farting around playing it on the toilet at work or in your office or under your desk or at school, like, you know what I mean, under your textbook, they don't care where you're consuming it and how you're consuming it. Well, I'm just curious to see how they are going to perceive this information moving forward.
Okay, this sets up really well the elephant in the room that was sitting on me for like 2 days, where I put out a tweet. That's funny. I was talking to somebody who's like, you talk about your tweets a lot on your show. I'm sorry, but this is like where I talk when I'm not on the show. All right? Sorry.
Right.
Hey,
yeah, same.
Thank you to the 700 plus that are here watching the show. Hit the like button if you're about to learn something, if you have a good time. We're going to get into some pretty crazy stuff. We're getting into some leaks as well for games that are coming to the platform. So we'll get into that. But so I did a tweet where I basically said 6 million players. Like, that's really good because Xbox doesn't care how many they sold, because this got me in a lot of trouble. I said they don't care how many are sold because they have $3 to $4 billion in revenue they make from Game Pass during a full calendar year. Now, if they put Hi-Fi Rush, Redfall, Starfield, and Forza Motorsport on Game Pass with some other things, and they're bringing in $4 billion a year, we already know from Phil and the court documents from the FTC hearing that they are still turning a profit on Game Pass, because if you're bringing in, I said an average $12 per 28 or 30 million people, it equals to $4 to $4.5 billion of revenue. Phil already admitted that they're not spending more than that to run Game Pass. So when they say from the rooftops, Mag, we have 6 million players, and the PlayStation guys go, but where's the sales? And then the Xbox financial analysts are like, we're not talking about sales because we're making a lot of money over here on residual revenue streams. And then people are like, why are you capping for a corporation making money? I'm like, you can't downplay the success of Starfield right now. It's another thing we're going to get into. It is huge. And as Samurai was setting up, it reached higher than Skyrim's concurrent users ever on Steam. Yes. I want to talk to you about this, Keebs, because Skyrim came out in 2011 when Steam was like a quarter of its size for users. What do you have to say to that before I throw in a correction to it that I hear? against people.
I mean, you kind of already set up one where it's like gaming on Steam has grown exponentially since Skyrim was a thing. Like, I'm sure there were plenty of PC players. Heck, there was the 270,000 that was playing Skyrim back in those days on Steam. But like in today's world, well, that was what Skyrim's peak Steam thing was. It was 270,000, and then Starfield's is 320 or 350.
330. Yeah.
330. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, times have changed, and so it's. But there's a lot of those people that were playing Xbox. Another stat too that Phil actually put out. I don't know if you're going to say this is or if I'm jumping the gun, but like,
go for
it. Steam, and the Xbox platform. Keywords Xbox platform. Okay, that's not me saying console. That's not me saying cloud. That's not me saying PC. The Xbox platform and Steam. Phil Spencer said that like. We managed to reach 1 million concurrent players total with all that combined.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of an Xbox game doing that since Halo 3, man. Holy shit. I never heard of something having 1 million players on at once. That's the thing. Yeah. At once. You know,
I don't know what Halo Infinite did pretty well. For a game, I was
gonna say like Halo Infinite, you got like 20 million players that signed up. I think Horizon, you had 20 million plus players
30,
too.
Yeah, 30 now.
Yeah. So it's like they reached those milestones, but I haven't heard of one reaching 1 million concurrent collectively. But that's as the point was just saying here, and that's because no matter what they push, they're becoming the most accessible platform out there. You have so many ways to play their games now, and will they push something? Maybe, but it's like. When we put out numbers like this, where we released a game that has 1 million players at once, we're doing something good. I don't know.
Yeah, what I don't know, Keebs, is like, what was the concurrent peak for Skyrim? Like, was it? I was wondering if it was in 2015 or 2016 when
we only have the Steam thing. Yeah,
it doesn't say because. You know, a lot of people are like, in 2011, Steam was really small. I'm like, yeah, but in 2015, Skyrim got a huge boost when they put out the remastered edition on console. And then for Steam, they sweetened up the graphics and you got a free upgrade. But you had to pay for it on console. And I was one of them. I got the free upgrade on Steam. And there's a ton of people playing Skyrim again. Like, Skyrim goes through these hot spots, but... I don't know. It is very polarizing because Starfield's reception has been kind of weird. So I got to hear from Mag. Mag, tell us what's your experience so far, because there's going to be some ups and downs. I want to hear what the great Mag has to think about Starfield.
Okay, well, I'm almost done the story, the actual campaign or whatever. So I got a good amount of time in there that I was able to do that. I'm going to stay spoiler free for anybody who hasn't gotten around to it. I know some people is like, I have 763 hours, and I'm like, okay, just calm down. Like, you know, not all of us have that time. But anyways,
you basically can't say anything from like a few missions in.
No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to. But I'm going to talk about my experiences, and of course, I listened, and of course, I read, folks. And I read a lot of the pros and cons of other players, and I look at Reddit, threads and all these kind of things, and people's YouTube videos, Skill Up, and all these guys having long discussions. And then what I do is I compare that to my experience. Now, my experience, I'll be short and sweet here. It's interesting. I found it to be almost like a Star Trek the Motion Picture Simulator.
Oh, I like
and
that.
What I mean by that is, say, like a lot of people saying, oh, well, the game starts off very slow and boring, and then it picks up later on. I actually found it to be the opposite. Not opposite. I'm just going to say I actually never found it boring at all from the beginning, because when it started out, I mean, other than the mining stuff at the very beginning, they're like, come on, Dusty, and, go do, get that rock. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
TV? Don't call me that.
Yeah, don't call me Dusty. Yeah. It's our word. Anyways, anyway, the thing is, I did that, whatever. When you got into the actual game,
it's like... chat. Go ahead.
Anyway, I just said,
I can break it down.
Apparently Jaffe was spoiling stuff. I will not be that guy. Anyways, listen, the thing is, what I found is that once you were out of that, you got into the story, you got your ship, right? The dude is like, yeah, here, take the ship, blah, blah. And then you're like, okay, cool.
He's like, hey, Meg. Take the keys of my ship. I just met you.
He's like, just take the keys. I don't care anymore. I just gave up on life.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. It's fine. He's like, it's fine. I'm just going to go get drunk at the bar. You go fly around the galaxy.
That was the weirdest thing. He's like,
Yeah, it was weird. It was kind of weird. Like, you just kind of like, yeah, okay, you just take it. I'm just going to go drink and whatever and just watch reruns of Three's Company.
Anyways, like, you saw the Vision 2? Who gives the keys to their multi-million-dollar spaceship because some guy said, I saw the blinking lights the same time as you did when I passed out. That's the last guy you give you the keys to your ship to.
I know.
Anywho, here's the thing.
Here's the thing. Add that to the list, folks. When you get that ship, and then all of a sudden, you take off, you're out into space, you're looking around, you're doing the thing. You don't know what the hell what you're doing. You don't know where to go and whatever. I'm like, okay, so what do I do now? What do I do now? How do I do this and that? And what it was is that it was slow and methodical in a very interesting way. And then the first thing I thought of, Christopher Stewart, I saw what you wrote there about Star Trek. I would say that, like, it didn't matter, the theatrical or the director's cut. There's a whole scene in the beginning of the film where Kirk and I think it's Bones McCoy, and they're flying the little shuttle over to the ship. And it's very, very slow for about 10, 12-minute shot of different angles of them flying to the Enterprise and around and to the back and basically docking, right? All I can think of during this game when you're docking on the Eye or you're landing on a planet, this and that, it made me feel like it was Star Trek: The Motion Picture, the very first movie that came out in 1970, whatever it was, 78, 79. Yeah. And I was just like, what? Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I kind of like that vibe. And I found it captivating as opposed to boring. It just seemed to me like okay, I'm experiencing this as if I was doing it myself, as opposed to, like, let's say an action adventure game where you kind of skip over that stuff and you're just kind of like, jumping from A to B, you're doing this, you're killing guys, doing whatever. And like I said, those games are fantastic. That's my jam, right? But this felt different. And it just felt like it was just like I just sat there kind of like playing, and I was sort of mesmerized by it, almost like it was like science. It was almost like science fiction ASMR. Does that make any sense?
Like,
to you?
did you take the slow walk up to your ship?
Yeah, like, ship? I love that.
Yeah,
and like this, and you see like just like the Millennium Falcon in Empire Strikes Back. You see little steam bursts come out of the side of the ship and stuff, and just like the very slow ambient music and this and that. And I'm just like, this is science fiction ASMR to me. This is pretty cool. I like the idea.
Like, so when your character when you get in that seat and he sits down and pulls the console up, like. Oh,
yeah, it's kind of cool.
Hey, I made my character a girl. Thank you very much.
Actually, so did I.
You did?
So did I.
Yeah.
My character's bobby cut, short, silver hair. That's my jam. I love that stuff. So I love that
little space booty going on there, Meg.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I didn't pick a male. I picked a female. And anyways,
what about you, Keeves? Describe your space girl.
Oh, her name is Lauren. Her name is Lauren Nomaz. I put this on my Instagram story. I wrote a full background story for her because I decided if I ever play an RPG, I don't want to self-insert anymore. I want to think of a character. I even did that shit for Elden Ring. She's got a full backstory, man. Like, her parents weren't around. Her brother was the main one that took care of her, but for some reason her brother disappeared. So she hopes one day to be reunited with him. She learned the streets. Like, I thought of a whole background for her. But yeah, she's got blue hair and a little bit of some tattoos and piercings because she doesn't give a shit. So
sounds like my wife. What are you saying there, Samurai? Anyways, in all seriousness,
everybody has a type. Everybody has a type. Anyways, yeah. My character has a totally bald head.
Hey, I wasn't making somebody my type. I was just making a character. Believe me, I think the default options, I'm like, these girls are hot, but I didn't do that.
Yeah, I wanted mine to be my type. So I cue ball, shaved head, thin beard, glasses. Kind of a Canadian Italian accent. And I can't remember what I named him. No, I made my character. I think might have said this last week, but I made my character and it didn't really look like me. And then I found out you could go to the medical place and tweak the character some more. And I got it kind of closer. And then I was playing like 3 hours later and I went back to the medical place again, obsessed, and basically made this guy without glasses. And I think it looks pretty cool. They just don't have enough forehead, but I like to play as me. But yeah, anyway, that's yeah.
Well, you're gonna hear my cons now. You're gonna get my cons. You just got the pros. Here are my cons. The cons are as follows. Yes, chat, there are cons.
Yeah,
it's not a perfect game. It's not a perfect game. It is not a 10 out of 10 for me. The what the hell is it called? The weight thing, like like I pick up a clipboard and all of a sudden I run out of oxygen. Like, come on, man. Like, it's just like, I'm just like walking through and I'm like, I'm picking up all this stuff. And I understand some people, they're saying like a little bit antiquated, this and that. I'm like, all right, well, that's kind of their charm. That's kind of what they do. You can pick up a coffee cup and like
normal,
a pencil.
But it seems unnecessarily cumbersome to be over.
It is a little bit. Yes, thank you. Well put, Colt. Well put. And that's the thing. And all of a sudden, I'm like, what the hell's going on with my oxygen? I just see it going, and all of a sudden the red, and I'm like, yo. Yep. I'm like, what is happening here? And then I'm like, okay, you know what, dude? Drop the teddy bear, and then let's finish the mission so that I don't keep running out of oxygen. That was really bothersome. It was pulling me out of the experience a little bit.
It's not just that, Mag. The over-encumbrance seems to be more intense in Starfield, and I wasted many hours mitigating it on the fly over and over. But go ahead.
Well, I kept flying back to New Atlantis, and there's that store that you could sell. There's that lady there. I can't remember what it's called. It starts with
the one
J.
with the weird eyes. She's like,
yeah. Well, which one? There's a lot of them with weird eyes.
To be fair, we talked about this, but the main characters' NPCs look really good, but that one, like even the main people you talk to in stores look okay, but the Jemison Mercantiles lady, there's just something's not right. She's like,
wait, which lady?
The lady in Atlantis in the store, after the port to the left. Yeah, and she's wearing like the light blue outfit, and she's like,
"Is her store pretty orange?
We have more stock in the
yeah. She's really weird. I'm like, listen, just take my stock, leave me alone, stop looking at me.
Can I please tell a story? Can I please tell a story? Because I think it's the same girl you're talking about. Like I was like, I've only ran into very few bugs in the game, but there was one that like I was away from my ship. I fast traveled to my ship. I actually laughed out loud, really loud when I saw this. I fast traveled back to my ship and I hop back on. And when I turn around, I just see a random character in there that has no right to be on my ship. It's not a crew member. It's not a crew member whatsoever. And I'm like, who the fuck is that? And I look at her, and it's that exact girl that you're talking about.
From the store?
She follows you.
She's like in her ship. She goes, "We have lots more stuff in the back."
She's in my space, and she's just like staring at the corner. And I'm like,
"Wow,
what?"
Like
Don't you love that stuff though?
She turns around and she can't leave the corner, and I try to talk with her, but she doesn't say anything. She's just staring, and I'm like, "What is going on?"
That's fantastic.
Was there an option to jettison?
I was dying, and she was stuck there. By the way, she was
the airlock.
There. She was stuck there for like she was stuck there for like the next 2 or 3 hours I played. Every time I came back to the ship, she's probably still waiting for me.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, get away from Nikki Eyes. That's what we're calling her from now on. Anyway, I watched Razor Fist. If you want to get a good laugh, I watched Razor Fist doing a 5-hour stream of the game, right? And he clipped one out and he put it on YouTube, and it was called Starfield's a Religious Experience. So he's in the lodge and he's talking to some lady or whatever, and he turned away for 2 seconds and he turned back to have a conversation with her, and she was gone. And he's like, "Where did she go?" And then he looked up, and she literally started floating out of the room into space and disappeared. And he's watching her slowly fly away, and he's like, "Come back!" He's like, "Come back!" And he's like yelling at it. And it was just the funniest thing. He couldn't carry on the conversation because she literally just floated away. Anyways, I did not experience any bugs so far. Although those ones are really funny. No bugs.
Memorable.
What else was there? I was struggling, and I've actually talked to a couple of people about this, and I'm like, guys, is anybody struggling with the sensitivity of the sticks on the console? Yes. Holy crap. I would just touch it, and all of a sudden I was like, whoosh! And I was like, the camera would rip around. I'm like, dude, calm down. And then I just barely touch it, and the camera go flying the other way. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, let me turn this down a bit. And all I could think of was like, I remember Colt said he turned down the sensitivity on the sticks a bit. And
I think it was Red. Red was with us last week. He said he messed around with it for like 20 minutes to get it just how he likes it.
Right. And then I found it too sluggish. So I was having trouble aiming because I'm like too far to the left, too far to the right. And I'm like, God damn it, would you stay still?
Yeah, it's the acceleration. Yeah, it is kind of weird. I kind of left it alone. Fiddlestick says, "Mag is bald." Wow. No, it's a hat. It's a flesh hat.
No, this is a skin. This is one of those like skin caps they wear on Saturday Night Live. I actually have a full head of hair.
Heads.
Yeah, like the cone heads.
I got to give a shout out to my good friend MMA Pro Fighter in the chat who is having a hard time understanding stuff. But when I said 3 billion, MMA. I was talking about the amount of revenue that they bring in from all of these subscribers, that basically most of them stay on the service like most of the year long, or the majority of the year. So they pull in at least, they reported they pulled in $3 billion in revenue. And like I said, yeah, he's like, no, he says Xbox is not going to give $3 billion for Starfield. Xbox didn't have to pay anything for Starfield. They paid $9 billion to buy Bethesda, and Bethesda made the game. And just kind of how it works. But yeah, it is interesting. There are big things happening. It is interesting to see Starfield hit so many players when it doesn't hit the PlayStation. And it really does say, look, Xbox can do this without giving their games to PlayStation, which is the go-to or the de facto gaming system. Like I said, I think I said it on Gaz. I never remember. Did I say it here? Was I on someone's podcast? Where PlayStation is synonymous with tissue and Kleenex, like the video game system, PlayStation, this or that. Xbox has to work a little harder, and it sounds like it's working. They hit a big number for Starfield. I cannot wait to see Keeb's video tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm probably keeping you from working on it right now, but thanks for being here. Thanks to almost 900 people. Hit the like button if you're enjoying what we're talking about. There is, Christopher Dring said, I alluded to, that Starfield, this is crazy, as we talk about the success. He said Starfield should be more compared to Diablo 4 and its success. Throw in Game Pass, and this might be the biggest launch of 2023, and that is saying something. End of quote, meaning he's talking about with Diablo, Sea of Stars, Hogwarts Legacy. Help me out, Mag. What were the big heavy hitters? Baldur's Gate 3?
I would say the biggest ones were Hogwarts Legacy. My goodness. Tears of the Kingdom was big. I don't know about Resident Evil 4. That was such a great game, but I don't remember if that was a big launch. And then, of course, we got Spider-Man in a month.
Which right? Really, there's a whole other thing to talk about that as well. But yeah,
I'm very curious to see how that lands with only on PS5s, right? Because there's no other way to consume that. It's not on PS4. That's a big margin. That's a lot of people, right? That's 120 million consoles not getting that game. Now we're presumably about 50 million. You're probably going to sell about another 10.
Yes, Mag, because I said, if you look at 2023 from the beginning to the end, PlayStation is going to have 4 first-party titles from their studios. I think I might have said Final Fantasy 16. Yes, I did. So I think I couldn't remember what their 4th game would be, but it would probably be Helldivers or Stellar Blade. We don't know yet, but here's what I was saying. Just take those 4 games from PlayStation. You got Forspoken, which didn't sell a lot. Final Fantasy 16, which sold pretty good. Spider-Man, which I guesstimated the 4 games. I said they would sell about 20 million in total for those 4 games by the end of 2023. And everyone's like, no way, Spider-Man's going to sell way more than what you're saying. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. And then somebody corrected me and said, like you did, Mag, it's only on the PS5, so it's more limited. They sold 5 million in the holiday season, the release of Spider-Man in 2018, but they were also on 100 million PS4s. Now they're on close to 50 million. Yeah. Oh, yes, Joe Williams, yes, there are super chats. I need to get to them. I'm so sorry. I actually have to open up that tab and get to those. Let me say this last thing about Christopher Dring's thing before I get to some of these questions. Christopher Dring saying, he said in the middle of his statement, throw in Game Pass, which means these are box sales, digital sales. We saw the pre-release things like Samurai talked about with Xbox PC, console, and Steam, where people said, I don't care, I'm paying $30 to get it early. And it's undisputable that Starfield is a massive success, and people were disputing it all week, and it just makes me... Okay. Oh, yeah, I got sounds. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but if you hear the grunt birthday when I hit my head, then let me know in the chat. Yeah, so I got the Stream Deck for buttons. I don't know if it'll work, but they can't hear it. Where was I? I'm so sorry. Let me get back to the show. We got Joe Williams, he said, where's Super Chats? He's from Australia. Thank you for being patient. He says, I love Starfield. I put so much time into it, but the the unknown bug is hindering me, which is a quest. He says it's keeping me from going any further in New Game Plus, but it's about time Xbox delivers some amazing games. I don't know what your bug is. That sucks, but if you haven't gone too far, grab an earlier save. Red Wolf gifted a channel membership to Ice Cold. Ice Cold, welcome to the channel. I think I saw you chatting in there as well, asking a question. Adam Cassidy, thank you for joining the channel membership. Red Wolf says, Mag, continue the rest of the entire show talking about how Starfield made you feel tingles in all the places that can tingle. And
well, let's calm down here. I did say it was science fiction ASMR, so we got some brain tinglies in there. But yeah, let's calm down with the other tingly places, okay? That's for my OnlyFans page. So we'll get to that later. Carry on, Colt Eastwood.
Mag's got to make that money, baby. Web Day with the $2.
Not giving away for free.
Says the Mag drinking game. I'm here for it. Hit the thumbs up. Yeah, we appreciate it. Spartan661 with a 5. Thank you, buddy. He says Starfield's at a 4 to 5 to 7 out of 10. Is still way more fun than any 8 or 9 or 10 out of 10 that I've played. A 20-hour plus game on PlayStation consoles. Can you change my mind? I don't know. We were talking about.
Can't change your mind, dude.
Yeah, you can't. Please don't change somebody else's mind.
Yeah, if you have your mindset, then that's it. So
you can't. No one's gonna change your mind.
That's why.
Some people think Saints Row is great. Hey, what are you gonna do, right?
Hey, I was one of them. I enjoyed the game. I knew it sucked though. Hey, I skipped every cutscene though. That's the only way to play Saints Row. If you find it on sale, if you get it for like $20, skip all the cutscenes and just enjoy.
Well, it's for free now. Well, not free, but in a PS Plus, it's for free right now. You can download it if you got PlayStation.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, if you want to play on that. No, I'm just kidding, Meg.
So yeah, no one's gonna change your mind. No one's gonna change. Listen, some people think it's a 10. Some people think it's a 4. So some people are in the middle. It is what it is, man. At the end of the day, it's a personal experience because it is, like I said last week, it's a personal digital interactive experience that only you get to experience, right? So no one's gonna experience it for you.
Somebody trying to tell me like, when I say something great about Starfield and they have to like try and pour cold water over it, why are you doing that? Like, why are you jumping in this lane?
Or people who are not happy with it. Let them be unhappy with it too, man.
Right.
Like, don't go looking up their history.
I played it for 25 hours. It's boring. I don't like it. And I have nothing to say to them because I'm not going to say, just play a little longer, please. Like, why? And that's why on this show, on XSC Podcast, we didn't go after Dan Stapleton for a 7 out of 10 or GameSpot. Because it doesn't matter. Never. It's one review. And it is Dan's opinion. We got it.
That's right.
Got it. Gaming Nerd Austria says, thank you for the 5, I don't know, euro, I think. He says, hey, Colt, Mag, and KBG. Just woke up because I am old, but finally get to see you live. Greetings from Austria. Love you guys. Keep going. That's very cool.
Austria.
Is that a first one for Austria for us?
I will be there in a year and a half because I'm making my way through Austria and then Germany and then going to end up in Munich for Oktoberfest for my 50th birthday. Yes. Dang. Yes, so that's gonna be a big. It's gonna be a big year. Anyways, carry on.
That's nice.
Greetings from Austria.
Thank you, gaming nerd. Yudana Kizada, who's like one of the OG channel mods. I don't know why he sent this, but love him. He says a vegan, a Tesla owner, and a CrossFitter. Hey. Wait a minute.
Let me tell you something. You know what? A lot of people. I'm gonna get this out of the way first because I get a lot of people. Everybody thinks that a Tesla driver is like, basically like a side character from the new Saints Row, okay? With the skinny jeans and the purple hair. Some of us have beards and tattoos and going to beat the crap out of you, okay? They just happen to have a car that's really, really fast. But I'm not trying to save the environment.
To be fair, when Mag steps on the gas pedal of his Tesla, it goes, oh.
What?
You better cut that. I almost started swearing there. Let me tell you something, okay? I didn't buy that car to save the environment. I bought it because it's 500 horsepower and I bury anybody with it. So, and I do the closed track stuff with it too. So, hey, I'm not 50 yet, dude. I'm still 48 and a half. I'm 48 and a half. But I'm coming. I'm going to be there close. Meet me in Germany, dude. We'll have a beer together. Carry on with the Tesla slander. Wait till I buy the Cybertruck and start running over other people's cars like Bigfoot. Remember that thing from the 80s? Sunday. And I start crashing all the cars. That's going to be me.
Cybertruck. You ain't buying no Cybertruck.
I'm going to buy it just to spite people.
This show is off the rails.
Super chat.
Yodani was saying, now I get to defend myself. A vegan? I don't even like vegetables.
Well, I don't know which ones are you guys. Which one? Well,
I'm definitely not the CrossFitter. Look at me. I'm I'm a frumpy old man. Well, I mean, look at Keeves. He's got the pipes.
It had to be Keeves because I mean he was doing calisthenics at the beginning of the show, so clearly he's the cross trainer.
I mean, he's not the veggie tail. I'm the veggie tail. So yeah, he says a vegan, a Tesla owner, and a CrossFitter came into a podcast chat. How do you know which is which? They'll tell you within seconds. Oh, okay. It was just a joke. I totally typecasted us, and it had nothing to do with us. I think
people are actually pretty
he's
upset
calling me a vegan. What, Meg?
People are upset that I talked about getting that Cybertruck. I'm not going to get that Cybertruck. It looks ridiculous. I'm not going to say that.
Truckosaurus.
But I am looking at that Tesla Roadster. My God, that thing's a monster. So, anyways, carry on.
I don't know if I can. Boner Jams with the $5 to evening, boys. Yes. He says Colt
Best name
East. Yeah, best. Sorry, Meg. I'm always talking over Meg. You know what?
No, you're not. You're not.
It's time for me to make a public apology for talking over Mag while he was pressing the throttle of his electric vehicle, which moans into the night ever so gently. That ASMR from Tesla and Elon
Scorpio
Musk.
called me a Tesla-owning tree hugger. I cut trees down and burned them in my backyard.
He's got chainsaws attached to the side doors, and he just goes through and mows down trees.
It's not Mad Max, is it?
It could be.
Soon
He
enough.
says, evening, boys, at Colt East Lumber. He always change my name. Great show. About to take an incomparable mag to school on Mortal Kombat 1 with Reptile. Have a great week, everyone. When's Mortal Kombat come out, Keebs?
You know what? That's the second time I think I've been challenged in Mortal Kombat 1. I haven't even bought the damn game yet. When does it come? Doesn't it come out in September?
KBG knows, right? Come on, you know.
20th something, 25th, 26th, something like that.
26th?
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Chad, help us out. I think it's the 26th. I think Keeves is right.
Yeah.
I think 25th. Damn it, it's 14th.
All right, well, no one's...
I knew it had a number.
None of us were right. Yeah, there was a number. It's coming out sometime.
Doovie with a $5 super. I got to tell a story after this real quick. He says, I have all consoles and I play on PC for Starfield. I as well, Doovie. I played 100 hours on Series X, beat the game, made the review, made a video. Now I'm playing just on PC and enjoying. This is funny. $2,500 PC. I'm playing at 1440p, which is probably the average resolution on Series X. Pretty much the Series X settings, but I'm getting 60 frames. So I'm basically getting the Xbox Series X version with double the frame rate for 4 times the money. That's what I call economic. Or 5 times. 5 times the money. Doovie, I love you. He says, it's not because of the frame rate. It's because it's easier to play on PC. I have 1 to 9 for items. I am playing with a controller. Playing with a Starfield controller. But my friend said it's fantastic on mouse and keyboard. But as Mag and I were talking pre-show, the only games we play on PC are TurboTax, which is an amazing racing game. What's your favorite PC game, Mag?
It's called Spreadsheet, and I use it every day at work. I've gotten 1,000 out of 1,000 achievements on it every week. I'm really, really good at it. And once a year, No. And then once a year, I play this other game. It's called Taxes. And then I do that, and then the government sends me a platinum trophy for that one. And by platinum trophy means it says 100. They send me $100 check, and it says good luck with your life, and then that's it. And then said make sure you pay us next year. So yeah, you know how it goes.
Doovie reminded me because his name reminds me of somebody that for this story. I was at PAX and I got invited to off-site to go play Lords of the Fallen, which is a Souls type game, which is way improved over the one that came out 5 years ago or something like that. And I sat down and played it, and it's really, really good. And this this younger guy walks in, and he goes to sit down, and he's like, "Hey, Cole, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh," and I'm thinking he must know me from, maybe he's that one person that knows me from X&C. I don't know. And I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" He goes, "Hey, you probably haven't seen me since I was like 12. And I'm like, "Oh,
what?
Your long lost son?"
I go, and I'm thinking in my mind, it's my brother-in-law's friend. Devi is his name. But I didn't say his name because I was like in the middle playing the game, and I didn't know how to pronounce his name because I never talked to him because he's my younger brother-in-law's friend. And I was like, "Oh, it's really good to see you." He's like, "What are you up to?" I'm doing a YouTube channel. He goes, "Oh, I'm working for some studio as a PR person." And we had this little conversation for just a couple minutes, and then I went back to playing my game, and I left, and I messaged my wife and said, "Hey, I saw Devi at this thing," and she goes, "Oh, really?" And then a few days later, we get home from PAX, and the guy I saw posted, "Hey, I ran into my good friend Colteastwood," and it was a totally different kid from a totally different family that I grew up around like 15 years ago. Which I'm so old. I'm like I had it convinced in my mind that it was a totally different person, and my wife saw it and goes, "You are such an idiot." That was what's his name, and I'm like, "Oh," she goes, "You didn't call him by that name, did you?" I go, "No, because I felt awkward, so I didn't say anything. I just tried to." I'm such an idiot. But
never say a name. Just say, "Hey, what's going on, brother?"
Hey, what's going on,
Hulk,
bucko?
Like, dude, just say brother like Hulk Hogan does. Hulk Hogan just says everybody's his brother, and he'll never get your name wrong because he's always just calls you, "Hey, well, your brother and this and brother and that brother." No problem. He still does it now. He was on Joe Rogan. I think he called Joe Rogan brother like 85 times. He probably didn't even know Joe Rogan's real name. That's his thing. That's what I do. I call everybody brother. You never get it wrong.
Yeah, the reason why I say that is when you guys, any of you in the chat, when you get to be about 40 or maybe older, this is going to happen to you where you run into someone that you maybe went to junior high or middle school with, and you're just not going to remember. And they're going to come up to you and go, "Hey, what's up, Jeffrey?" And you're going to be like, "I have no idea who that guy is."
I promise you, I had the same experience. Literally last night, my like elementary school buddy invited me to play Halo Infinite. I'm like, sure, I'll join or whatever. And we're with a friend named, I was just another friend there, and he's like, "Tony, it's been so long since I've talked with you," whatever. I'm just like, "Hello," and he's like trying to like recap me, and I'm like, I have memories of this person, but at the same time, I don't. He's like, "Here's my Facebook," and I'm like,
dude. You know, I actually the same thing happens to
cool
me.
Dude,
usually,
I like yes.
Very pregnant women come up to me and they say, "Hey, Mag, you remember me from 8 months ago?" And I'm like, "What? I have no idea who you are." And then my wife and I just keep walking through the grocery store. So yeah, same thing.
That does not happen.
Wait a minute.
Woo!
Are we gonna talk about games again?
Okay. So can we talk about Lords of the Fallen for like 1 minute?
Yeah, actually, go. Why don't you ask me, because
I want to ask you how.
I'm not a big Souls guy, but yeah, ask away.
Dude, it looks dope as hell. I wanted to know. I didn't realize you played it until right now, and I'm like,
I was pissed when I found that out, man.
Dude, I'm pissed right now. I'm like, what? Colt doesn't say anything. He like 2 weeks now. Colt, how's the game, and does it have a map? Please, that's the only two questions I'm going to ask.
Does it have a map? That's what's important.
The chat. I don't even know if I have the map because I was like too busy like buried in the game.
Right.
Okay, I am not a Souls person. I don't really love those games. And I was like, holy crap, this is really, really good. Your dude carries around this blue lantern, and you have to interact with like pedestals that will kind of like mark your campsite, like to your respawn point. But when you die, your character goes down to a knee, and you hold a button to light that lantern, and the lantern blows up blue and puts you in the upside down. In the Umbra, they call it, in the underworld. So now you're in it immediately switches you to the same area that you're in, but it's like the underworld version of it. What would I compare that to?
Stranger Things.
Yeah, like Stranger Things. Like you're basically the same. The turn that's over there and the shack that's over there.
Imagine dying in a Dark Souls game, but it turns into the medium.
It turns into the medium. Yes, like the medium. Yeah. And so you're in the medium for the moment, and the enemies have now increased, I don't know, like 1.5 times in their difficulty, or their level increased. And if you die, it takes you all the way back to your last respawn point. But it's like your second chance. You're in this harder difficulty to fight your way back, to get back
like the Gulag?
Your essence and stuff. Yeah, like the Gulag.
Like the Call of Duty Gulag.
The cool thing was I was in an area where I was going around, and there's like a shack and weeds and trees, and I die, and everything turns all craggly and kind of blackened and stuff, and it changes the look of the game. And I die, and I get up, and I turn around. Now I don't remember where I was going because everything looks slightly different. And I turned around from getting up off a knee with the lantern, and I'm like, this is intense. And I'm not a big fan of those games, but I think people are going to be super, super excited to play Lords of the Fallen. And it felt great. Like the way he swung the weapons, like I liked it more than some of the combat in Elden Ring. Like, I was pretty excited about it.
Let's calm down. Let's calm down.
So
just wanna
it's
make
not
sure
an
that there's
open
no,
world
like-
game like Elden Ring. Like Elden Ring, you feel like you
Right.
can get on your horse and go around, and what am I going to discover? And it's less open world, but
Open zone. Yeah,
it felt really, really cool. And the animations of him swinging felt and looked really good too. So I was pretty happy that people are going to be excited when they get their hands on it. Looks pretty promising. So I got to play an hour and a half.
That's
You got to
awesome.
play an hour and a half? That's
That's great, man.
Yeah, the funny thing was,
I heard that, like, I just heard people were playing that. I was like, I didn't know that was on the show floor. It's
yeah,
not.
I
I'm
got
like,
I got an invite.
Sons of bitches.
Well, I got an invite because I got a 4-day pass as a creator, and they reached out to me because I applied as a creator, and they're like, "Would you like to play Lords of the Fallen?" I'm like, "Sure." When do you want to do it? There's a funny story. You were sitting with me in the Iron Lords at the Cheesecake Factory with Lord Cognito, King David, Lord Sovereign, Lord Attic, and they're like, and I'm like sitting there while we're eating. I'm like, I don't want to leave because we were all having a good time, but I'm like, my Lords of the Fallen appointment is in 20 minutes, and it's a 20-minute walk away from the convention center down west in Seattle. And I'm like, I gotta go. And I was like, and so I'm quietly on my phone sitting next to Lord Acting. I'm like, "Dear Sirs of the Fallen, I need to reschedule my appointment because these guys are super cool." And so I do that, and Addict's like, "You're going to Lords of the Fallen?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "We got to see if we can get in there." And they're sitting there on their phone. I don't know if you caught this, KBG, but he goes, "Oh, cool. An opening just started up just now. Somebody canceled."
No, what do you mean if I heard it?
Were
It was
you
literally
watching
happening
this?
in front of me. I was watching this happen. And then
Dude,
just like, oh, an opening. Cool. And then
And
it was
so
like,
I
you
took a
made the
screenshot.
opening.
I didn't realize it. So I was talking to this guy, Daniel, from the Lords of the Fallen PR team. And he's like, "Oh, it's fine, Colt, we'll move you to later today." And so Lord Act's like, "Hey, do you have any openings?" And Daniel's like, "Oh yeah, we just had an opening. Somebody canceled." And so they's like, "Oh, cool, we got one at 1:30." And I go, "Oh, sweet." I'm thinking, maybe they'll just let me in with them. I'm like, "Hey, can I use that one appointment? Because I got guys that are coming in that I'm hanging out with." And he goes, "Oh, they already got it scheduled. Sorry, man." And then behind the scenes while we're having breakfast, he cancels the Iron Lords and puts me back in that spot. So I'm by myself anyway. But anyway, yeah, it was cool. I went to another hotel and I had to go up 39 floors to the 39th floor of like the Cylinder Towers. It's well, who cares? It's a hotel in off-site in Seattle. And I sat in this room, and there's a big PC there, and headset and everything, and a controller, and rocked it out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. By the way, I found a great new name in the chat. Remember last week there was that guy with that really funny name. I can't remember off the,
The
top of
food
my
name.
head. Yeah,
I
it was
remember.
like barbecue dog something or other.
The barbecue
grandfather,
chicken
whatever.
something, yeah.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I found a new one. 80s cartoon villain. Dude, I love your name, man. Oh, no, sorry, not dude. Brother. Love your name. Yeah, love your name.
I see it. I see it in the chat.
I see it in
80s
the
cartoon
chat there.
villain. Shout out.
80s
shout
cartoon
out.
villain. Love the name. I need more food analogies, though. I love those, like, depressing broccoli or whatever. With those funny ones. I don't know why. They always just make me laugh.
My friend Darth Vicious has another account. I can't remember it. It uses the broccoli name in a funny way. Let's see. We got Jax82 with the $5. Says cloud gaming is not working way too much. It lag freezes a lot. And there's a 15-minute wait trying to give PC a chance. Not working for me. Any ideas? Jax, if you're talking about Starfield, if you're playing on cloud, you're going to be playing the Series X version at 30 frames on xCloud. So if you want to play on a PC, give it a shot. But I heard that they set some of the xCloud servers offline because they didn't have enough people using it. And now people are running into queues, I guess. I don't know. I haven't heard the update on that. But I will say, I don't know, Keebs, if you've used xCloud or tried it out just to see what you can say about it. But if I'm on 5G internet outside or a 5 Wi-Fi, what do you call it? 5 gig Wi-Fi? I don't know what you call that. Whatever.
I know
have
what
it
you're
here.
talking about. The 5
Yes,
gigahertz
if you have those
Wi-Fi,
two
whatever,
protocols, which are a step above the minimum requirements, xCloud works really well. It might be your mobile signal or your Wi-Fi router might be set on the partition or whatever that doesn't get the high speed. I don't know. Have you used it?
It works
xCloud?
good. Like literally at PAX. I participated in some of the tournaments at PAX, and there was an Overcooked 2 tournament. I've never played Overcooked 2, but my friend and I have played Overcooked 1. And I'm like, you want to do that duos tournament together? He's like, oh, that sounds fun. Let's do it. I'm like, cool, but I've never played 2. So I boot up xCloud because I know it's on there. And I'm just like, let me just figure this out. Okay, so all it's just
to
throwing.
get like practice in?
Yeah. And I did it right then and there. Like I just used my phone's data plan and I was just like, playing with the thing hooked on. I'm like, okay, I got it, Could I play better at home? Absolutely. But like the latency was good, the quality was good. I was like, this is really impressive. Like this is really cool. So
yeah, this is why you should convince your in-laws to get a really great Wi-Fi router. So if you're over there and you're stuck watching really boring TV, you can pull out like a gaming device and just play. Yeah. Oh yeah. You're taking your truck in tomorrow? Yeah, like that. Red Wolf, my good friend, who I was talking to for quite a while today, he says played Starfield for 1,200 hours. Wouldn't recommend. He finished the game.
Here's the thing, because I didn't get to interject my opinion at all, and I feel like we've used so much time, so I won't share it much.
What about Starfield? I didn't even ask you. What a terrible host.
I've been just sitting here the whole time listening to VeggieTales and Cars and stuff like that. So
well, let's hear what you love and let's hear what you don't love.
No. I just want to confirm. I just want to confirm this message. Like I played it for 12 hours. It wasn't my thing or whatever.
He's kidding.
And it's like, he might be kidding. But here's the thing. Like I would agree because, that's how I felt. Like I was playing it for, I don't know why my camera's choppy, but I was playing it for like 10 or so hours, and I'm just like, this just isn't hooking me, guys. Like I literally put that tweet out before the weekend. I'm like, I'm 10 hours in. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna keep going, but I'm just not feeling it. And then now I'm like 20 hours in, and I'm just like, all right, I'm not loving this, but it definitely is like a Tears of the Kingdom and Red Dead Redemption 2 situation where both those games, they took me many hours to be like, yeah, I like this. But after those many hours, it's like, oh my god, I love it. Starfield, it's not like I love it, but it's like it took me a long time to get into it. So.
Red Dead does start really slow, but I don't know. I might have said this when I first was able to talk about Starfield, but the very first night I played, I was kind of like, I had this look on my face, like the long face. Why the long face? Like I was, and my wife was like, "You're not liking it, are you?" I go, "No, it's good, but it's not Fallout and it's not Skyrim in space." And once you get the problem with the game definitely is that it starts really slow, and they did that because they wanted they didn't want to overwhelm you, but you already feel overwhelmed. But my problem is, and this is the first time I'm able to say this, I reviewed the game in 12 days. Yeah. I definitely enjoy it way more once that review is out of the way. Like,
yes, I was very enjoy on your perspective so much on this more. Too.
Yeah. A lot of that was the pressure of the embargo and the NDA and the time constraint and how long is it going to take to make the video and stuff like that, which is that stuff nobody else has to worry about. But it was amazing that once there was so many things and mechanics and parts of the game that I did not have access to after 90 hours because my fault. I did spend probably 3 or 4 hours at least tinkering with my ship and 3 or 4 hours at least trying to figure out the research and then trying to figure out, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it is so good. But
because you feel you had to, and it's like, I was literally thinking that yesterday. I'm like, I can't even imagine being a reviewer for this game because it's just, it's not because of how big it is, but it's like, I feel like the way I would be playing this game would be so different than how I would just be playing the game. So I was super curious about like how that difference has felt. And yeah, because I myself, like I've been following everybody's advice, like just follow the story. I've heard a lot of people say, I think I even saw you say that or something. And it's like, or at least to a certain point, do this mini story missions.
I definitely said at least do the first 6 because your character will advance in a certain way, and it's kind of important. And I unlocked this last night. I unlocked an ability at hour 180 that I did not even know existed in the game. I unlocked a feature in the game of something I could do, and I'm like,
I saw that.
Well, you saw the asteroids thing, but this is even more than that.
I was like playing, and I was like, no way. And then I do it. I'm like, oh shit.
So
Yeah.
KBG and I are gonna save ourselves the embarrassment because what I'm talking about is I played the game for over 150 hours and did not realize you could break apart asteroids and mine the minerals. So Meg, I don't know if you played you played No Man's Sky, right?
No. No Man's Sky did not play. No,
Okay,
it never got on my radar. And by the time they actually fixed the game, I had already moved on to New Horizons. So,
like I said, it's a cool game. You definitely should give it a shot.
Yeah, yep.
But early on in Starfield, I was flying around, and there's not always asteroids around. And I shot at them, and they didn't do anything. Like I went, and nothing happened. And I'm like, oh.
All right.
I guess you can't break them up in this game, but I thought that's cool. I guess I got to land on planets to get minerals, whatever. So that's what I did, like the whole playthrough. And then I got this bigger ship, and I'm like, ka-choom, ka-choom. Those are my sound effects. And the rock blew apart immediately. And then I went over and looted it. I'm like, iron. I need iron. And so I put out that tweet. People were like, how can you be so stupid and not realize that? And I didn't know that early on, you gotta shoot them several times. Now, in the defense of No Man's Sky, your starting ship, one laser beam, one laser bolt will break apart things. Like they'll break apart as you shoot them, but not the same as Starfield. But anyway, yeah. Dr. Dinglehunt goes, No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is cool if you just kind of do your thing, but it's something else. Whatever. I don't even know where we were. I've got one more. Metal Macius with the $2 thing. He says, Mag's voice sounds identical to Mooch.
What? That's a lie.
No, it's not.
That's a lie. True. I know. No, Mooch and I talk pretty frequently too. It's kind of funny, but when the thing is though, it's Mooch says to me all the time. He goes, "I don't hear it. I don't hear the similarities," and then I yell back, and I'm like,
when you do that.
I know, and the funny thing is that I yell back, and I'm like, "I don't hear it either, Mooch," and all of a sudden, and then someone will say like, "You guys literally sound exactly the same. You don't even realize it." But anyways, either way,
are you Mooch and I are good?
Mooch and I are good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are good friends.
Like I said, I was on Party Chat with Dealer, and he's like, "Oh, you mean Canadian Mooch?" I go, "What?" And he goes, "You haven't heard Mag's voice?" I go, well, "Let me hear it." And he plays it over the Party Chat. I'm like, yeah, that's great.
It's not like I do it on purpose or like I mimicked him or something because he was on YouTube long before I was. But it just that's just the way we talk. It just so happened, and then it's funny how we both ended up in the gaming community. Like I could have been doing YouTube shows about the weather, you know what I mean, and we would never have crossed paths. But somehow, we both ended up in the same, stratosphere, so to speak, or whatever, and same universe, and all of a sudden, there we are. But hey, man, either way, it's kind of funny.
It's good. It's good to have a backup Mag, have an understudy. No, just kidding. Actually, Mag is the understudy because Mooch has been around longer in the scene. So you have to take second chair there, buddy.
I'm older than he is, so I've been screaming longer than he has. But either way,
That's true. You've been on this earth longer. Yeah,
that's right. I've been on the earth
Keebs,
longer.
I got to ask you. This will go into the next topic pretty well. But what don't you love about Starfield? We got to say it.
So the number one thing to me is I feel like a fourth of the time I'm playing the game, if not more. That's not me exaggerating. I feel like at least 25% of my time playing the game, I am in menus, I am in loading screens, I am fast traveling, I am not actually playing the game. And that's just because of the way they built the game. You're going to get encumbered, so you have to manage your inventory. You're going to have to go to different planets, so you're going to have to fast travel.
People are really talky, aren't they?
And they're talky, and you can't land on planets like No Man's Sky or other things. You have to travel, right? You can't fly into the planet ever. I saw videos of I flew at the planet for 10 minutes and nothing happened. Exactly.
No, the only thing that Lana Pierce flew for 7 hours and clipped through the image of the planet. So yeah, that's not the way they built the game. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my main gripe. I'm with I agree with Mag earlier about how a lot of the times the dialogue it feels. Somebody on Kind of Funny said this, and I was like, oh my god, that's it. It feels like I'm on a Universal Studios ride sometimes. And people are just and people are just quickly, you have to do this, and they're just quick, oh,
shoot the aliens.
We welcome you. That's how it feels like sometimes. And but that part doesn't bug me as much. It's mostly like the menu stuff, which I've gotten used to, and maybe that's what 20 hours does to you.
Do we remember? I don't know if you remember back. Do you remember fiddling with the freaking Pip-Boy? You got like the triggers and the sticks and the bumpers, like, and then the map, like you use the right stick to zoom out or something weird, and it has to become this natural thing. But this has been horrible at menus, and you do spend a lot of time in menus. I gotta say, because the chat is saying this over and over, I got to the point where I just had to let go. Like literally let go of all the stuff, because I was trying to collect everything to throw into the research station so I could unlock things, so I could craft more. And I finally had to say, you know what? Stop trying to carry every gun and become rich off of everyone's gear. Just grab cool things and just go play. Because I seriously wasted so much time walking slowly to the lady who's like, did you wash your PS5 today?
Yep.
So and that's not damage control. That's actually a big critique, because when I play Fallout 4, I go into a room, Keebs, and I like sweep up and down and around.
I love it.
And I check it.
I love to do.
Like I am so methodical. Like I am like, I need this, that. Yes. No, I don't need that. I know I need this. I need that. And I sweep a room like surgically, and it feels so good. When I play Fallout 76, I was like, I'm in the zone. I know what I want. I know what I need once I learn the things. But when I play Starfield, I walk around, I go, none of that I need except for the ammo. And I don't even need the food, because the food's worthless. The food's horrible because you have like 1,000 health points,
food is so
and
random.
food gives you 3 per bite, right? So you're like, which is kind of like Skyrim. I would walk around like 18 apples.
You know what's funny? Is that the food has mass to it, so it's like, oh boy, I better eat to lose some weight.
Yeah, it's true.
I better eat to lose weight.
I never even thought of that.
I was cracking myself up thinking about that. I'm like, God, I'm such a fat ass. I better eat this food that I'm carrying.
Speaking of weight, Dan Stapleton was from IGN, who was having a rough time dealing with Xbox fanboys, but he said, I'm really upset that when you go on a low gravity planet that you can't carry more because it's low gravity. And I'm thinking, okay, I have an engineering degree. I took a bunch of physics classes, and I'm thinking, I haven't really done the thoughtful calculations of what it's like being on differing gravities as much, but I think weight is relative. That if you're carrying 50 pounds of stuff on or let's say you're a 200-pound person, you're carrying 50 pounds of stuff. If you go on a light planet, it's all relative, isn't it? Like, aren't you still, you're lighter and the stuff is lighter, so it should be a wash. Right?
Wash, yeah.
And I'm like, I can't be this much smarter than somebody else. I mean, I'm not very smart, but I'm like, why? There was the whole controversy about the gas planets, and everyone says the whole thing about science, right? But here's my best take on why you can't land on gas planets. What the would you even see if you could? Of course, you'd be floating, but if you land on an orange gas giant, all you would see is orange an inch from your visor. You wouldn't be able to see anything. So there would be nothing, even if it let you land in the middle of a crushing gas giant. What would you do there? I'm like, I don't understand. Everyone was talking about you can't land on gas giants, the crushing atmosphere, the swirling 600-mile-per-hour storms, the intense heat and chemical reactions. And I'm like, even if you could, King Thrash, what the freak would you even be able to see there and do? I'm crazy.
The gas plants are literally just there for the sake of accuracy, because gas planets exist. And so we have to have them. So we're not just going to leave them out of the galaxy, but you can't land on them. Why? Because you would never do that. But I want the option to. Fine, fair. I get it. You want to play Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I got it. You want options. But the one thing I will say about the encumbered thing, because I've heard a lot of people gripe about that, and I surprisingly haven't minded that. Like, because I figured it out, and I kind of do what you're saying, where I just figured out, okay, just don't grab every single thing. Just be selective. It does kind of slow me down, but I have a limit because I just fill up, and then I just offload it to my squad mate. because they can carry
even
it
that
for
can
me,
be limited.
you know?
Your ship cargo can be limited.
Yeah,
but
and the ship cargo, but that's my thing is like I just every mission I go on, I give it to I pull up and I give it to my crewmate and I'm like, okay, you are at your limit here, so you can get more, but now it's going on you, and you're not going to take anything else. Like there's no more. So
my problem is all of the loot you pick up, Mag, is most of it is just you can sell it for pennies on the dollar instead of like if I'm going to pick up staple guns and wire gauges and whatever, like it would be really nice to say, okay, I'm carrying 50 pounds of junk. I'm going to go to the station and I'm going to break it down into copper and iron and plastics. And
that would be a great idea.
But you do that in every other game. Any other Bethesda game. But when we're talking about gas giants, I got to ask Mag, because this is a big deal to me. Did you get to land on a planet and see one of those big ringed gas giants in the horizon of the planet?
Yeah. I actually watched your little video that you did. What was it, like a little time lapse thing there, and of the planet and the axis changing as it was rotating. Very cool. By the way, I noticed the viewership went down. That can only mean one thing, folks. Risk It for the Biscuit has shown up in the chat, and all of a sudden he chased away about 100 people. Risk It, what's up, brother? Nice to see you. He's actually happy that I changed the lighting on the video. Yeah. So, anyways,
Risk It, Risk It,
but that too.
Love Risk It, man.
We
You're
gotta
the best.
call him the handsome Risk It, though. Yeah.
Yes, of course. I always call him the Australian Jack Black. It's him. So here's the thing. I wanted to piggyback off something that Keebs was saying there about inventory management and the weight thing and all that kind of situation. Now, there's something that I did find that I like. Even Cole, you mentioned it. You say, well, you know what? Don't pick this up. Don't pick that up. Now, the thing is, I found that when I'm in a firefight with like 16 people, like let's say I go down into a mine or something, and whatever, and you get into a mine and there's like 16 guys and you're running low on ammo, pop, you take a guy out, you run over, and then you just instinctively because you're picking up everything off the floor because you're looking for bullets, for Christ's sake, right? So, and then usually these guys are carrying like a magazine or a cartridge or something that you'd be able to like reload your weapon with. But the thing is, what you don't realize you're doing, especially with the fact that you got 16 other dudes shooting at you, is that you're picking up all their guns.
Yeah.
So then when I go over to the go over to see bug-eyed Nicky Eyes, and I'm like, wait a minute, why do I have 16 Beetlejuice guns or whatever the hell it's called? The one that starts with a G.
What's a Maelstrom? Like when you first start playing the game, right? You're like,
what the heck is a Maelstrom? Yeah. And the one that starts with a G. Yeah, the ones that start with a G. I like that kind of.
the Grendel.
Oh, the Grendel. There you go. Yeah. Hansel and Grendel.
Yeah.
So you get the Hansel and Grendel gun and whatever else, and then all of a sudden you go. I'm like, why do I have 16 of them? And you didn't even realize you're doing it because you've got that sort of, that action RPG sort of vibe of just, you take somebody out, you literally drive over them, run over them, and you just pick up all their gear and you just keep moving, right? And then all of a sudden, like Borderlands or whatever, you're picking up bullets, you're picking up whatever, and you just keep firing. And then all of a sudden, you take 3 steps and you run out of oxygen. And I'm like, what's happening?
Well, Meg's talking about when you're low on ammo, that's why he's looting as he goes. It is a good idea to loot after the dust has settled, but like Meg, when you're out of ammo, like you're like actually rifling through somebody's pockets. And
I did find I was running out of ammo a lot. The only gun that I never ran out of bullets of, surprisingly, was the shotgun. The two like the two chambered like the pump action shotgun. It was just a single. I never ran out of bullets there because 2 bullets would take a dude out. Right? So it's just like I would just pop and then reload, go to the next guy, pop, take him out. And so I would walk into a firefight with like anywhere from like 40 to 70 bullets. It was never an issue, right? But the other guns, the submachine guns, the handguns, I was always walking in there. I'm like, what the hell? And all of a sudden I do like the up, down, left, right, like on the directional pad, because that's where I had them.
The favorites.
I put them in the favorites, and it was 0, 0, 0, and 0. And I'm like, come on. And so then when you shoot a dude, I would immediately go up and just press A, like just spam it and basically just try to get, hopefully get some ammo, right? So
this game also, like if you're shooting at enemies and you're at 0 in the mag and you don't want to reload because you're in the guy's like rushing you with a knife, so you switch to your shotgun and you blast him. Later on, when you go to switch to that pistol, it still has an empty mag. Like you'll come up to another enemy 15 an hour later and you're like, you pull out your Eon pistol and you're like, crap, and then you reload it.
Yeah. So you got to think like you can't. Like I'm when it comes to looter shooters and that kind, I'm not saying this game's a looter shooter. It clearly is not. But I'm just saying, like in that aspect, when you get into a firefight, I did this one mission where you had to go down into this mine area, as I was mentioning. It's like a deep cave or whatever. A mine. They call it a mine, Gandalf.
A mine.
Yeah. Ripe meat off the bone, roaring fires. Anyways, it was not Moria. Anyways, I went down in this thing, and it was all these guys. Yeah. Next time, throw yourself in and rid us of your stupidity. Sorry, I've watched Lord of the Rings hundreds of times and read the books.
Yeah. Where's the video game on that? But go ahead.
Oh, dude, like they gotta bring like back Return of the King, like action adventure game. That'd be so great. So, anyways, you get down there, and all of a sudden I'm like, well, crap, I'm already here now. And I'm like, now I've got to like look at the situation. Now I got to map it out. And the thing is, I understand, which I haven't got. I mean, the game's got more perks than like I've ever seen in a game. Like Charlie Sheen's medicine cabinet doesn't even have as many perks as this game does, right? So like it's ridiculous. So but it's just one of those things. That, like I get down there and I'm just like, okay, now I really got to think about this. And then there's some perks in there. I think I upped one where you could be a little more stealthy, so they can't hear you coming. So like I was able to like maybe sneak past the guy and be like, okay, let me see if I can find a couple of health packs and hopefully find some cartridges before I engage, right? Because if I engage now, I'm in trouble here, right? So there've been a couple times where I've actually died quite a few times because I just didn't have enough ammo. So I have to go back and rethink that strategy and think to myself, okay, Meg, this is not Borderlands. Right? Where Borderlands, I can walk into a firefight with like a submachine gun that literally has 2,000 bullets. Right? So like I'm never going to run out of ammo in a game.
And ammo
like that,
is
right?
like ammo is 700 crates in front of you.
Right. And then you just blast, you run over, you pick up another 5 clips, right? So like, but this game's a little different. So now I have to like rethink and go, okay, not the same game. So you got to think about it. So it's
another thing that because I see some people in the chat saying like, well, you could do this. Well, you could do this. Here's the thing. My other con with the game is, and my roommate walks by and like he's like, why didn't they say that? And I'm like, that's my other problem with this game.
What do you mean?
That there is so little I feel explained to you well. That's my other problem with the game is I feel like there's very like they tell you maybe the need to knows.
Even the help is very, very limited.
It's super limited. Like when I went into a crafting menu, I haven't done the crafting stuff because when I jumped in there, I'm like, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing here. I have no idea what I'm doing here, and I forgot there was something else, and there's just a lot of things. I see people just saying like, well, you could do this, you could do this.
They don't explain like when you put your stuff in the cargo hold. Where can you get to it? Like if you put your stuff in the lodge, can you access it? No, you can't.
Exactly.
The hard way. Right?
If I was a reviewer, I was telling myself, if I was reviewing this game, it would have been rough because I have Googled so many things. Like I have Googled so many explanations.
Google in the review period. There was no Google.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's true.
I was like, if I was reviewing this game, I would have been so screwed because I would not have been able to Google all the things that I have Googled.
The reason why Keebs and Mag and I are complaining about these things, like they're not game changers, but Bethesda in the past have done a really good job with their RPG mechanics when it comes to crafting, building, or upgrading. And sure, you have to kind of learn those things too, but I feel like it's just unnecessarily obtuse in Starfield when I'm like, you already know how to do this so great. And like when I go to upgrade, there's so many things. Like this game is, I'll say this, you cannot sit down as a BA Baracus gamer and say, that's shout out to 80s people for knowing that is, but you can't sit down and say, I'm going to put 80 hours into this and I'm going to conquer Starfield. You will not. You will not unlock the research. You will not unlock the mods. You will not unlock all of you won't unlock a quarter of the perks you want in time. The game is not meant to just sit down and just kick its butt. It just can't be done. And some of those things keep it from being a 10 for me. The more I play the game, the more I love it. Sometimes it just feels really slow. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I landed on this planet. There's a gigantic orange Saturn on the horizon, like taking up the whole TV. And I run up to this outpost, which is right there, just standing in front of the planet, and it's like 0.3 gravity. So when I jump, I'm just jumping so high, and I pull out this like advanced sniper rifle, and I'm picking off pirates, and their bodies, like when I shoot them in the head, they do this backflip, and their gun goes this way, and their body goes that way, and I'm watching it all happen, and this huge Saturn's in the background. I'm like, oh, and it's so great. But there are just some things that just keep it from being perfect. Now, this is a great segue into a YouTuber, a smaller YouTuber that threw a huge fit in a short. Now, I'm not going to say his name because then people might go to harass him, but he's like, stop defending Starfield. And he's cussing, he's using foul language, and I'm going to cover some of the things he said, and because I know you in the chat are like, why are you talking bad about Starfield? Like, these are just little critiques, but now we get to have a little bit of fun with it. These are some of the things he said. I'll start with Mag. He said, Starfield is going to be the most disappointing game in 2023.
100% correct. Carry on. Yes. No, I'm sorry, sir. That goes to Gollum. That goes to my precious.
Wait, does it go to Gollum precious. Or Redfall?
No,
Chat,
I heard
let us
Gollum
know which one's worse, Redfall or Gollum.
I heard Gollum was worse than Redfall, so I think that's.
There's no question, Gollum. Yeah,
yeah, Gollum is the worst game of 2023 so far.
Most disappointing.
So far,
huh? No.
Most disappointing.
So Starfield's not. How about Keebs gets the next one. He says, why does this game exist when we already have No Man's Sky and Destiny 2, which are way better games? You can agree with him. But
why do you still get shooters when there's a bunch of shooters that exist? You know, like why do you still get real-time strategies when a bunch of real-time strategies exist? It's just a genre. That's it. If you want to label a single game, but Destiny was already exploring space. I don't want more space exploring games. Well, you're gonna get robbed on a lot of different interpretations of the space exploration genre, dude.
I mean, I've talked about No Man's Sky on the show a lot, and it does things that Starfield doesn't really well. But in the grand scheme of the game, it just doesn't have quests. It doesn't have characters. It doesn't have story.
It's a different game.
It's a different game, but you really should play it. And as far as it saying No Man's Sky and Destiny 2 are better games, No Man's Sky is in a 72. Of course, if they rated it after all of its improvements it got 3 years later, it'd be higher. Right. Destiny 2 is an 84, where Starfield's an 87. Next one's for Mag. He says there's no excuse for Starfield to run at 30 FPS. That's what he said.
I'm not happy about the 30 FPS because I don't think it performs great on the Xbox from what I'm seeing and what I'm playing. So, as for no excuse, well, I can't really say that because I'm not a developer and I'm not a designer of a game, so I can't tell the reasons why it runs at 30 and why games run at 60. I just know that games do and don't. So I can't, why comment on something that I don't understand? Like, I don't even understand the basic fundamentals of how it works. So that's like someone telling me how to, cook something. I'm like, dude, I know what to do here. And, and if you don't even know how to boil water, don't tell me how to do what I do. Right? So, it's the same idea. And trust me, there's a lot of armchair chefs that show up in restaurants all the time that they're the experts, right? Everybody's a Gordon Ramsay all of a sudden because they watch 2 episodes of Iron Chef. But anyways, it's the same idea. It's the same idea, right? So this is the same idea. Like, I don't know why it doesn't. Like, I can see it. I told you at the beginning of the show, I was struggling with it, and I'm like, I'm struggling a little bit here. And some areas are better than others for some reason. Like, some areas go smooth as silk, and I'm like, this doesn't look like 30. This plays like 60. And then all of a sudden, there's some areas where I'm like, okay, looks like we're walking through porridge. Right? So, but at the end of the day, I didn't design the game. And listen, Todd Howard knows what he's doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I just know that I play the game, I talk about them, and I talk about my experiences, and that's all there is to it. So, as for what this guy's saying, I can't say that there's no excuse. I don't know. I'm gonna leave that as I'm gonna be Switzerland on that one. I'm gonna be neutral on that one.
What about you, Keebs? Is there an excuse for this game to run at 30 FPS? Have you looked into it? Have you watched the Digital Foundry breakdowns?
I looked at one video, I forgot whose, and I don't know. Like, I've said before, well, I basically made publicly to people that I don't care 30, 60, whatever. Like if it's I don't care that much, especially if it's a stable 30, then I'm fine. I wasn't one of those people that was bashing Jedi Survivor. Like, sorry if that makes people want to be like, oh, he's so excusable.
The performance mode was what made Jedi Survivor hard to play, which is another topic though I don't even know if we'll get to. But Digital Foundry did say that there definitely is a reason, because for those of you who care, like, why can't they just make it 60? They did a test to see if you could lower resolution or settings to get the game to run at 60, because Richard Ledbetter has a chipboard from China that is almost identical to the PS5, which is close to the Series X. And he paired some hardware in the PC that is very close to the new consoles, and they tried to change the settings. They got the game to run at 60 inside buildings. Out in space, it ran at 45. There were big frame dips, and with all the interactive stuff flying around and floating, they're like, they made the right choice. Like, this game on new hardware has to run at 30. And Todd Howard was called out by the media where they said, why didn't you optimize this game for PC? And Phil laughed, right? Phil laughed and goes, yeah. Well, Todd goes, we did optimize it for PC.
We did,
Maybe you need to upgrade your PC. But I think PC gamers, to their downfall, is they look at their PC and they think, I spent this much money on it. I want 4K 120 with ray tracing. And they're unwilling to compromise the settings. And when they do, they feel like they got cheaped out on, and they blame. Now, lots of PC games are unoptimized, but when I load it up on PC, it's like, oh, okay, your hardware says 4K 60 ultra across the board. I started playing and it started dropping. So I'm like, I don't have an ego. So I'm like, I'll put it to 1440p. I'm going to lower shadows, and I'm going to lower something on textures, and I'm good. And I don't know. That's just how you have to be. But let me go to the next one that he said. He says it's going to be buggy, it's going to be ugly, and it's going to have bad performance. This is him before the game came out.
Right.
How buggy was it?
Performance in which way is he referring
Well,
to?
I'm sure that he's saying it's not even gonna run well. But
right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now, Mag, you said that you saw drops, Digital Foundry, and I played a lot on Series X. Like, there's sometimes where it looks choppy, but that's 30 frames.
That's what I'm saying. There's areas where it was smooth, and I'm like, oh. It's like, and I'm like, okay, this is pleasant. I have no issues with this. This looks great. And then all of a sudden you get to like a certain area, and all of a sudden you look around, and all of a sudden I'm like, why did it get so jittery all of a sudden? Or, it get a little choppy. And then all of a sudden it smooths out again. You get out in the real world, or not the real world. You come out of like an area, a cave, and you're walking back to your ship or running back to your ship. No problem. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you get to another area, and then all of a sudden it's like, it's a little bit jittery again. You're like, what's going on here? Why is it like
they
it looks
called
like...
out what I saw. Like, when you walk through you walk like 30 feet in Atlantis, it'll drop for a moment. You walk into the underpass of Aquila, like where you first walk into the city, it drops for like a second, and then it comes and it stays normal. Yeah.
But, no, that's okay. But like I'm saying, my troubles is when you move around, when you start looking around. Like, if you're running, like, to an objective, right? If I'm in New Atlantis and I'm going from A to B, I'm like, I'm going to go get to the tram because I got to go to the spaceport, and then I'm going to go see Googly Eyes so I can go, like, trade in all my stuff or whatever. Yeah. And so, like, I do all that stuff, and that's no problem. I have no issues with that. But then all of a sudden, I get into an area and I start looking around, up, down, left, right, and I'm looking around, looking for something, for bullets or for health packs, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? And then it kind of slows down a bit, or at least it comes across that way. So that's, like I said. It's not game-changing, but it is noticeable.
Yeah, 30 FPS is at its worst when you swing the camera. That's when you notice the. And I've talked about this on the show a lot, where you see like the. It's like somebody flipping an old film projector. Like, you see the frame slipping in front of you. It's definitely something that you feel in 30. But the per object motion blur, when you move the camera, it's not. Bro, you can load up Redfall, which doesn't have that. When you turn the camera, it is like ripped apart. It looks so bad, but Starfield's much better.
Can I ask a question then, Colt? The motion blur, should I turn it on or off? What do you think would give me the better?
On.
Okay, so leave it on for a better experience?
You should use motion blur if you're playing a game at 30 frames, if you have the option to have it on. And Digital Foundry is really enamored with it. Yeah, they think it does a really good job.
Okay, I'll try that.
Ask you, is the game ugly? Is it good looking, or is it great looking? Like, how do you feel playing the game as a whole? Because he says it's going to look ugly.
It looks great. to me. It's the best looking Bethesda game there's been, and that's the thing. Like, if you want to think if any game that doesn't visually look as stunning as Horizon Forbidden West looked, if any game that doesn't look as good as that game looks ugly, then every game is ugly. Like, there's just some games that look if a game doesn't look as good as Hellblade 2, then it's ugly. Like, let's honestly, I don't care. like sure, the game looks ugly then, but this is the best looking Bethesda game there's been. This also has some great lighting. It looks really good. And I say this as somebody that typically doesn't care for Bethesda games, honestly. Like, sorry, chat, but I usually don't care for them. But I just, as objective as I could be, it looks good for a Bethesda game. It's like the best looking Bethesda game they've done.
Objectively, Bethesda's games have been kind of ugly. Like, Skyrim can be beautiful in lots and lots of moments.
It was on my Instagram story last night. I was talking to Hopper Miller, I forget, one of the minor people, and he was just lit in this Heller, that's what it is, and just like the way he was lit with like the sun behind him, and just like he's like got really good like facial features. I'm just like, this looks really good. Like,
oh yeah, the named character. I'll say this because I got a lot of heat from Red Dragon and Nick Marseille. Bless their little cotton socks and their little souls. But yeah, I mean, when in my review I was talking about the named characters or the mainline characters, like, I would say almost always they look really good because they're not motion captured. They're not performance captured. They've used the procedural system. Some people they've obviously made because they want them to look a certain way for the story, but they're all made in the engine and they're rendered in real time. And the mouth syncing is run by a program that says if they say a word that's ooh, the mouth goes ooh. And I sat there for hours and like we talked about how there's lots of talkie, but when they talk, the main people, they have something really interesting to say that's really well delivered. And I would find myself watching, and I said this in a review, like when the lighting is not flat, like when there's like some shadow or some soft glow and you can see the texture, they look really freaking good for not performance capture. Like, you should compliment how great the characters look, the named characters in Starfield, but people were cherry picking those awful NPCs that are walking around in New Atlantis, like
GTA. They look like Grand Theft Auto 4 characters.
It's really
bad. When you walk, this walk.
Yeah, but the weird thing is, Red Wolf, who's in the chat right now, he said the same thing to me. Like, when I was thinking, he's like, I don't stop and cherry pick and nitpick the NPCs when I'm playing a big game like Starfield. I'm too busy like looking at the world I'm walking on or the city that I'm in or whatever. You're doing that stuff. Then you go to Nikki Bulgy Eyes. I'm seeing the replay right now of Mag doing that that walk. I remember when I was playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and there was an NPC bug where they would be carrying a crate, and he would walk with one. I can't do it. I can't stand up right now. But he would walk with one knee would go up, one knee would go up, one knee would go up, and he would walk through the city like that, and I'd be like, what in the heck is that? Anyway, enough of the NPCs. Let me see if there's one more thing that this guy was so mad. This YouTuber with this short that got 223,000 views and 4,000 likes. He was so mad. Like, he does not want people to enjoy this game or be excited about it. He wanted that all to be stopped. And his last thing, I cannot stand when people say this. KBG, if I ever hear you say it, I'm going to punch you and then you're going to beat my face in.
What, Banjo-Kazooie should come back?
Oh my gosh. This is the last thing he said as he like pounds his fist like I was doing. Starfield looks average at best, except that. Yeah. And fanboys always use the phrase at best. It's average at best. It's 7 out of 10 at best. I'm like, no, it's 4 out of 10 at worst. It's 10 out of 10 at best. Understand how this works. But this is before the game was out for review. This was before anybody other than Ryan McCaffrey and Pete Hines have played the game. And he's telling people it looks average at best. And boy, is he wrong, because it's sitting at an 87 on OpenCritic. And whatever. Let people enjoy things. Right? Okay. So let's see. We got Screen name, thank you for the $5 super. Says all that stuff is annoying, but the real problem is better ships and items being level locked and hidden even if you have the credits. Enjoying the podcast. Screen, I don't know if you're talking about the research for crafting that is level locked. It sort of is like you have to invest points in botany or tier 2 weapons and stuff. As I understood that stuff, I'm not happy about it. And I'm like, by the time I'm getting a skill point, I don't even know. Like when you get a skill point, it feels like it's been forever. I think there might be a balancing problem with Starfield. No one has ever said this but me. It takes far too long to get a level. And they give out far too XP, I think, for a game this massive. Because I'm on New Game Plus, and I'm level 48, and I've only unlocked maybe 20% of the skills. It's crazy.
Isn't there an achievement? Isn't there an achievement? Isn't there an achievement for getting to level 100?
Yeah, I think there was one at 30, but
if you get to 100, would you have everything though?
Review. What's that?
Because that seems like it's not.
Well, would 100 like max everything out though, or no?
No, 320 would max. You have to get to level 320 to unlock everything, and it's not just that. This is kind of cool, but if you want to unlock the full power of the jetpack, where when you jump, you hover in the air while you're aiming down sights, and time slows down, which is super cool. What other game did that? Where you jump and you could pull your bow and time.
Zelda
does it. Some other game did it recently as well. But Fonz was working toward that, and he finally got it. But in order to get that, you have to jump up and use your boost flames to knock over 20 enemies. And it becomes a cool little mini game where I go into an ecliptic outpost and I'm jumping and flashing them with the flames, and they fall over, and then it tells me 5 out of 20, and then I go over and do that until I get it unlocked, and then I have to wait for a skill point so I can unlock that next tier because I've completed the quest, the little mini quest. So that's a little weird, but you just cannot bust through this game like you're the best gamer ever. You just can't do it. Risk it for the biscuit, and thank you, Screen Name, for saying you're enjoying the podcast. We appreciate it. Risk it says it's a great game. It does so much, and a lot of it really well, and some of it average. I would say it doesn't do anything badly. Maybe explaining systems. We agree. He gives it an 8 out of 10. Yeah. I mean, I gave it last week. I sort of gave it an 88, but then I started playing I was playing on Wednesday, 2 days after the podcast, and I started to do stuff where I understood you could do a couple other things. I'm like, oh my gosh, Rand, this game is now, it's gone up to a 9. And he's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, this is so cool. Like, I didn't even know this is in the game because they don't explain anything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
You know, your opinions will change over time, right? It might start at a 9, go down to a 7, goes up to a 7.5, goes up to a 9 again, goes down to an 8.5. It's going to evolve as you discover more things you enjoy and things you dislike, right? So, like, it's just the deeper you go. This is not a 10-hour experience, Colt, right? Where you play a game from A to B.
Have you ever had that before in a game? Like, Meg, think back. Like, have you had a game where it just slowly unraveled and I don't know. It's new to me, I guess. What about you? You guys both think about that?
I was gonna say Elden Ring, because they also, the game is just laced. It's laced in vagueness and ambiguity. You're just like, what am I supposed to do now? And they're like, you find like a character on the ground. They're like, well, dude, on the third full moon of every year, you have to bring him a white stone at the exact moment while wearing purple polka dot dress. And I'm like,
I want to say, like, there's some people in the chat that were saying, like, well, how come Elden Ring was vague too, but we didn't care as much? And I'm like, here's the thing. It's like I was saying with Red Dead 2 and Tears of the Kingdom. Like, those games, they took me a while to get into, but when I got into them, I got into them. Starfield, it's like the pros, this is just me, just saying that first. The pros aren't quite as overwhelmingly positive as Elden Ring had. Like, just to compare the two. They both had vagueness. They both, could have explained a bit more to the player. And maybe that was that was the thing that some people liked about Elden Ring. But the thing about Elden Ring was, like, the pros were so high, whereas Starfield's, it's like they're high. And it's like, because of that, it's not the vagueness being equal. Like, how come it's about, like, how high are those pros, and do they make you just completely forget? Because nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect.
Yeah.
But are the strengths like super overwhelming that just they don't even make you think of the cons? So
yeah, I mean, that's a really good point, because I just feel like there were things they could have done that would have obviously just kind of like reached people properly or right away. And I'm like, they had a lot of time to do this, but when I play the game, I can't stop playing it. I just really, really enjoy it. And when you talk about Elden Ring, everybody loves the heck out of that, but the barrier to entry, the difficulty, like getting killed and running back to get my, what do you call it? My gold glitter or whatever. And I get killed on the way. And I'm like, F chord. Like, oh my gosh. Like, now I don't want to play it. And then you got to force yourself. Okay, it's fine. It's okay to die. It's totally different. It's absolutely totally different. That's funny. Matthew says, what's this game going to be like in 5 years? Same with Redfall. It's funny that Pete Hines said, the media is posing as he's saying that it's going to be amazing in 10 years, but he said in 10 years from now, Starfield or Redfall's not going away. In 10 years from now, somebody's going to load that up on Game Pass and go, what's this? And he says he wants it to be at a good point at that point, but I think he means sooner than that.
Confirmed Redfall's a 10-year game, 10-year games as a service game, confirmed right here on this show, folks.
Well, I mean, there is Red Wolf and I were talking about how there are weapon skins and that you could put on your guns, but I don't know how they work. I haven't seen them. 180 hours. I have no idea. I haven't Googled it, because actually with this game, I have not Googled things, because I'm like, you know what? I've discovered everything else on my own, and sometimes I'm like, wow. So Red's like, I think the weapon skins are going to be microtransactions for a single player game. Like, oh, you want a blue and green skin for your Grendel? $3 or $5. I'm like, oh gosh, oh, it's all right. Red Wolf says, Starfield is absolutely my dream game, and I couldn't be more happy. Little tweaks here and there are welcome, but overall, this is BGS's Mass Effect. Ooh. Yeah, thank you. He says, even Nicola isn't motion captured. Hashtag aspirations. Keebs, what do you think the comparison to Mass Effect?
I'm so glad. Oh, thank you for letting me, because I don't want to ramble about it, but like that was another con of mine that was kind of there. Well, no, it's just like a simple another con of mine is I was telling people, like, because I'm like, the only reason I'm playing Starfield is because of Game Pass. And if there's nothing else I'm playing or feel like tearing myself away from, I'll try it because of Game Pass. Again, I haven't been much of a Bethesda guy, but I was also like, you know what? I have really been missing Mass Effect lately. I just played the trilogy last year for the first time. Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, tell me what you think about Mass Effect trilogy since you're new.
You know what's funny is that I played the trilogy through like I bought the OG games for like a good deal, and then they had like the
on PC
the legendary edition come out, and I was like, I'm already halfway through. I'm just gonna be playing the OG. So that's how I was playing the OG games, and
they still look fantastic.
I agree. They look really good, and I was enjoying them, and it's just to me it's the best. And I say this as somebody that Halo is his all-time favorite game franchise.
Yep.
I think Mass Effect is objectively the best game trilogy in the history of gaming. I firmly believe that. Like, I say this as a person that Halo is his all-time favorite game franchise. I love the OG Halo trilogy, but the Mass Effect trilogy is a definitive trilogy. It's like Lord of the Rings. You know,
it's
you don't
Star Wars too.
Well, yeah.
I really think so.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's like Lord of the Rings. You know, you don't talk about Return of the King. You don't talk about Two Towers. You talk about Lord of the Rings. That's Mass Effect. But anyways, but I bring this up because I was missing it, and I discovered this, I think, last year as well. I'm like, I don't think I'm an RPG guy. Like Mass Effect was great, but I also am just kind of like done with it. Like I'm fine. I don't think I'm an RPG guy, but I respect it so much on paper. But I miss it. I miss Mass Effect. Maybe Starfield will scratch that itch. That's my other kind of con with this game is I feel like so many of my decisions and dialogue options don't matter a ton, but that's only because of how I felt Mass Effect felt. Like I felt like I was making decisions left and right.
I think you're right. I don't think you make a lot of narrative decisions for much of the first part
you
of the
pretty
game.
much choose to go on a quest or not, basically. But I felt like Mass Effect, felt like my dialogue options, the ways I handle situations, like everything was building my character. And
that
don't
game has
get
stakes.
that feeling in Starfield.
Yeah, Mass Effect has stakes on what you say or what you plan to do, but it's really focused for that. But you kind of get some of the Mass Effect stuff in Starfield. Meg, I got to hear your take on this too.
Well, listen, the idea that Mass Effect, you could start off with one character and a group of people that, your followers, your friends, your lovers, your whatever, and then you finish the game with a completely different set of people depending on all the choices you made during the game. And it really makes you go back and you think about, like, for example, you play like the Walking Dead or those, the Telltale games or whatever they're called. And then at the end of the game, it shows you all the decisions you made. Mass Effect is the same idea without actually showing you the decisions you made. You have the mental note up here going, man, I started with these people and I ended up with all these different people because of all these choices that I made throughout this journey that I went on. This is a little bit more streamlined and a little bit in that respect. In terms of the story, it is a little more streamlined in terms of like
word.
And the decisions you made and the
read what Cord Wayner said.
I didn't see it. I was looking at the screen.
It's there right now. He just said it. And
Mass Effect feels like it. Yeah, basically like a choose your own adventure kind of thing, right? And this one is a little bit, like I said, more streamlined in the decisions that you make in the adventure you go on. They sort of like angle you in this direction. It doesn't really make a difference what you're doing. However, I think that the focus of this game is not that, and the focus of this game is about that. As the way that you were talking about, Colt, whether people like that or not, whether it's your bag or whether it's not your bag, is that you have the choice and you have the chance to be able to discover. Right? Discover new things every time you play. Like the fact that you said you're 183 hours in, and then all of a sudden you discovered something new. That's pretty magnificent, right? You're like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, like that. Like that's pretty cool, right? And people and I see actually this entire this entire podcast. I've been looking down at the chat as I always do, and I could see people saying, "Do this, try," and they were all different things. Right? They were all different things, and like 90% of the things I never even knew existed or discovered. Now, whether people have the time sink to put into this, or whether they want to, that's entirely up to them, and that's their choice. And that begs another question, which I've been wondering, and we'll find out in about a month from now. I want to see how like the more casual fan that's not going to drop 183 hours into a game, are they going to attach themselves to a game like this?
You want to
right over time or whatever. I'm just curious,
I'll tell you a kicker. My middle child, who's 16, who doesn't plays Grounded with me a lot and plays Fortnite, and that's pretty much it.
All right.
Was like, hey, can you install Starfield on the Series S? I want to make the custom character. Like she likes to play Sims 4 and make custom characters like to the nth degree. I'm like, yeah, put it on there, and I'm sitting there while she's making the character. I'm like, jeez, this game looks amazing on Series S.
Creator looks so good.
Yeah,
Creator looks so good.
It does. It looks really good. And I'm like, I knew Starfield would look good on a Series S, like just lower res. But I'm sitting there like, gosh, dang, that game looks so good. And this is the guy who played 100 hours on Series X, played another 50 plus on PC. And I'm like, gosh, dang, that little $300 box looks good. So she was making the character creator, and then I walked off, and she's like, I played like 6 hours. I go, what? And then the next day she's like, I have 15 plus hours in Starfield. I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, mostly the main story going around. I'm like, are you liking it? She goes, yeah, I can't wait till I get home from school. I'm going to play some more. I'm like, whoa. Like, so Mag's like, I wonder what the castles are thinking. It blew me away.
There you go. Well, that's that's a litmus test for your inner circle. You're seeing how people like it. Like I said, we will revisit this conversation in about a month when you see the other games drop and see if people are going to continue with it or they're just going to drop it and move on to the the new hotness, whatever that happens to be. Whether it's Alan Wake, whether it's Alan Wake, whether
insane.
It's well, we got Spider-Man. There's Alan Wake, are the two big ones, right? We got Assassin's Creed. You've got Call of Duty. Yeah, like I mean, there's so much stuff,
Lords
right?
of the Fallen.
Lords of the Fallen. Yeah.
Lords of the Fallen. Call of Duty.
I said Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Jesse P in the chat was like, "What's the point in choices when there's a specific canon that disregards your choices?" I can't tell you, but the game just gets more complex the more you play it. So like when I did the review, like I could literally, all I could basically feel like I could tell you is you can go out in space, you can go to these settlements, you can shoot things, and you can build an outpost, because I did not feel comfortable talking about more. And the game is quite nuanced in choice, which is very cool. But yeah, it's not like Mass Effect, like Samurai says. Like that game has always been like a choose your own adventure first, shooter second, and then 2 up the ante. And I would just like to say that I know people don't love Andromeda, but when I replayed it in January of this year, because I wanted that Starfield itch, I could really appreciate, this is like another Saints Row thing, I could really appreciate how great that game is as a sci-fi semi-open world RPG and a shooter. Like, it's really good. You just have to ignore all your crewmates because they are boring as heck. They're right, Keebs? Like, have you played Andromeda?
No, I haven't played Andromeda. And
I like
Andromeda.
want to.
I've been trying to like get to it, but then just 2023 happened. So,
bro, I might play it again a third time after everything settles with Starfield, because I mean, even though I just played it in January, but sci-fi games are so important. They're so. Hargeet Chani in the super, thank you, buddy, with the 10. You guys, I've had an entirely different experience than you guys. Now, I'll pause there. I've watched Hargeet. He's already level 40, I think. I've seen him on my friends list, and I don't jump in party chat with him because I got to listen, and I know he's listening. He says, played the game to play the game. Let it take me where it wanted. Never dull for me. Not into crafting, so I didn't care. Solid 3 out of 10. And then he goes, just joking, it's a 9.5 for me, he says. So, yeah, I mean, I wanted the crafting. I wanted to build walls and roofs, but you can't. And I was like, dang it. No, anyway. Let's see where we at. Have you noticed, Mag, that not a lot of people are talking about Baldur's Gate 3 on PS5 right now?
I haven't really been paying attention. Now, the only thing I could think of is a lot of the people that were playing the game, I think were already playing. I mean, the game's already been out a month, right? So it's already been a month on PC anyway. And then, you got the PS5. I'd be interested to see where this is going to go. It's not a niche product, but it is not for everybody because it is still turn-based combat.
Yeah.
Right. And
you can make out with bears.
You can make them out with bears. You know, it's so but the thing is, at the end of the day, whether they're talking about it or not, we're still talking game of the year contender here with the kind of with the reviews it's getting, what people are saying. I'm not saying it's going to. There's Tears of the Kingdom, which it's neither here nor there for me. I'm not really a Monster Zelda fan, but hey, I'm not going to deny it. So I don't know. We'll see what's going on with Baldur's Gate. I still think it was a miss for Xbox. We talked that about a month ago about how they, it got delayed a little bit. But you know what? At the same time, kind of a blessing because it kind of opened the laneway for Starfield. Because you don't want Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield coming out the same week. That kind of seems kind of, stupid and like cannibalizing each other. It's dumb. Yeah. Especially with the fact that you've also, by the way, which the chat kindly reminded me of, is that in just a few short weeks, if not even, I think it's only a week, Phantom Liberty's coming out for Cyberpunk. Right, so that's going to take a lot of people out on. So, you don't forget, Cyberpunk had monster sales on PC. So it's going to be really fun as an observer
too.
Oh yeah, and it's going to be very fun as an observer to see how many people are going to get pulled out of Starfield and go back to Cyberpunk, or you know what I mean? It's going to be fun to watch, where people are going to gravitate towards depending on the experiences moving forward, right? Especially over the next month or so. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, Phantom Liberty, I'm really looking forward to as well. I love Cyberpunk.
All those games you two are listing, and we didn't even mention that one. That's how crazy it is. I made a mistake.
Forget 20 million. What is it? 20 million? 20-something million copies it sold. So it's no slouch. Right,
so more than that,
it was probably more than that.
I made a mistake because I could have segued in because the thumbnail I had Liara on here, and I meant to talk about Mass Effect 4. I'll go to Keebs on this, but Jez Corden said that he's hearing that the game is much more linear in fashion to this trilogy you just enjoyed. So I don't know if you've looked into that, but do you have anything to say about Mass Effect 4? What do you expect?
I mean, I'm very curious what he means by that, because I felt Mass Effect 2 and 3 were that. They were pretty linear. You could go around a map, sure, but like there wasn't really any open world aspect to any of the Mass Effects.
But
One
there was for
probably
Andromeda. Andromeda would land.
Andromeda,
yes. Yes. They would put you on these kind of large planets, but yeah.
And you know what? I am seriously. So if 2022 and 2023 taught me anything, it's not only am I not like an RPG guy per se. Again, it's like Mass Effect. I just have so much admiration for instead of like personal love. It's like just such strong admiration. But the other thing 2022 and 2023 said to me is I'm just burnt out on open world games. I am so burnt out on open world stuff. And I think that's why like Starfield, it's like I'm somewhat enjoying it because that's what worried me. Just like, oh God, is it going to be like open thousands of worlds? No, it's like you go to a bunch of different spots that you can kind of roam around a bit.
Lots of locations,
Yeah, so when I hear Mass Effect is maybe they're going the Final Fantasy 16 route, which their last game was open world with Final Fantasy 15. And they're like, all right, we just want to make this much more linear and there's some kind of open zone areas and big maps, but it's not like a big open world. And
was that good for Final Fantasy 16? I hear complaints from some people.
I hear so. Yeah. I was hearing because Final Fantasy 15 was like the only one that did open world in that game. While the open world was gorgeous, it was very bland, I guess. I don't know. I'm just tired of open worlds. Like I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom. I might load it up once or twice during this podcast. I love like just jumping in and out of that game. Like that's the cool part I like about it is because open worlds are very. You have to make them with the intent of it being open. If there's another Halo
wanting
game
to be in the world and live in it.
Like Halo going open world, it scared me. They try to market it like, no, it's not open world, but you play it, it's open world. And it was jarring at first, and I kind of like it, but then I miss the mission structure. I miss going through a campaign. So I'm down for this direction. I don't. Not every game needs to be open world. Yeah, that's long and short of it.
And people definitely are getting that way. But there's rumors of an open world that's going to be 6 times bigger than its predecessor. Meg, we are way over time, but I want you to report on this really quick. What was the big leak that you were digging your hands into today?
Yes, I got. I'm sure some of us saw it. This will be my outro, so to speak.
Yeah, it's really
late. Grand Theft Auto 6. I don't know if anybody saw the footage today or anybody was lucky enough to get the footage. Some crossed my plate. That's all I'm going to say. And I got a good look at it, and I got a good view of what it was and whatever else. And it was definitely the game. It wasn't like it was GTA 5 online and just somebody jazzed it. No, this was the actual game. So anyways, I checked it out. The only thing I'm going to say is that I can confirm that the female protagonist that we saw from a leak, the leaked footage that we saw, that rough leaked footage we saw about a year and a half ago. Remember that? The one that was in the Clucking Bell, and she was like kind of like kneeled down. Yeah, and like down there, and the cops were outside shooting in the windows and stuff. And it was the same character. And there seemed to be some kind of a male character with her, like giving her instructions, like, would you get down and take some cover? Like that kind of stuff. Like that was happening there in one of the scenes. And I'm not going to go into too much detail because Rockstar loves to throw people in jail. So, I don't want to be that guy.
I told Meg this morning, I'm like, you'll do it for us, right? I'll come visit you in prison. Then we started making Shawshank references and gifs. And,
it's like, I don't need Rockstar kicking down my door, coming in and be like, come on, let's go, you're coming with me.
The cool thing is, I don't care when that game comes out. I'll just wait. I'm excited.
Hey, man, I'm still hearing late 2024, early 2025, first quarter 2025. But it might hit the late 2024, but I highly doubt it because Rockstar likes to give dates and they like to drop another 4 months after that because that's what they like to do. Sailor Mercury, it did look very good. The character models looked a lot more realistic. There was the ragdoll. The ragdoll physics were much more realistic. Like you could feel the weight. Like there was one shot, no pun intended, of her taking down a cop, And when the police officer fell down, it wasn't just like an NPC flopping over or whatever. It looked like a person literally falling over. Like it was a little bit unnerving. It was a little unnerving, and you can actually feel like you can actually see the weight of the character like hit the ground. And then when the cop hit the ground, the way he hit the ground on like the curb, his leg kind of like jumped up a little bit and then rolled to the side, like a real person. It was really unnerving. But either way, I'm not going to say any much more than that. Other than that, it looks very good. It's looks a lot more realistic. Basically, it's more of the same. Like in terms of you got your stars in the corner and the cops are coming over to stop you, and who knows what the setup was or the context. Yeah. It's Grand Theft Auto, and I mean, you could see the code running on the side of the screen at the same time as they was running the footage, so you could see that it was a developer actually working on it and running, putting it through its paces. So it is what it is, and it looks really good. So it looks good, and I really look forward to it because it's going to be something special when it comes out. Don't believe the $150 bull crap you've been hearing about. That's not happening. It is going to be. They are going to charge a lot more money for like the premium edition that's going to come with like perks for like the new GTA Online that they're going to and they are going to be unveiling a whole new online system with the game. It's going to be revamped and everything else. That's another thing they've been working on for several years. And that will be Joe Rogan is in the game. Joe Rogan is a huge fan of Rockstar.
Is that a leak that someone found out that Rogan's actually in the game?
Yeah, Rogan's going to be not as a character. He's going to be doing some. He's doing voice work for the radio stations. Yeah. So and the thing is,
so cool.
Well, the thing is, he was also
Rose, Iggy Pop. And
and he's also a big fan.
I'm so excited if they put on so many different personas. Colt, they reached out to you. They reached out to you, didn't they?
Yeah, I'll be the dork.
There's going to be a
station of rock. Today we're going to be.
Today we're going to listen to Toto in Chicago.
There is a mag channel. Obviously, I'm in the game. I'll be talking to Joe Rogan. Anyways, in all seriousness,
is it Vice City? Is it set in Miami?
I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say anything about. No, I'll stay out of that one.
Okay.
I'll stay out of that one.
Super long. Yeah. Meg, I want to let you go because I've got one super to read. Do you want me to let you go and then? Yeah.
Yes, please.
Meg,
I do have to get going. No, it was a pleasure, man. It was a great show tonight. Please go to Samurai's channel and go sub to him and watch his videos. His videos are funny. I like him. You like him. He likes to pump iron. He likes to work out, and he does great shows. He's got a great personality and great content. So please go check him out. Go check out some of that stuff. Hey, and then check out Colteastwood. Check out my stuff. I just released a new video today. It was only 8 seconds long, but it was still funny because I thought it was hilarious. I don't know if you saw. Did you see that stupid thing? I was literally driving on the road. I had the GPS on, and it says turn right on Bethesda Road, and I'm like, I got to film this. Oh yeah. It was really funny. Bethesda Side Road, which is in Stouffville, Ontario. And I'm just like, get out of here, Bethesda. I got to do this. So, yeah, I just made a little funny video about that. But I actually do have a much better produced video coming later this week. It's going to be on TikTok and, of course, on Twitter X. I don't put my stuff on YouTube because I don't like to get copyright striked. So you'll find my videos there. It'll actually be pretty funny. I got some great ideas for some new content coming up. But either way, gentlemen, we'll see you. Well, Colt,
I'm going to miss you, Mag, because we won't have the show next week. So next week, no XNC. Yeah.
No XNC next week. It's actually Samurai's showing up by himself. He's going to be here running the show. Colt and I will both be off. Colt is going on vacation. So we will see you guys all in 2 weeks. Everybody have a great night. Chat, you guys were amazing. And everybody have a great night. We'll see you all in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Mag.
Bye, Mag.
All right. Oh, darn it.
Now there it goes.
Come on, it's got to. Yeah, I'm gonna see if OBS can figure it out. Once he leaves fully, it will. He'll leave in a second. It'll fix itself.
While you do that, I don't know if just basically, I haven't seen any of these GTA leaks. I just was looking at like stats and whatever. I saw something about like 400 hours, which I'm like, yeah, that sounds right.
Like 400 hours is what people are saying. Oh yeah, I saw some like description where people are trying to. I wonder how much of that is just somebody just speculating. I saw a short on. A reel on Instagram where it was like, the game is going to be 6 times bigger. How can you know that
until the game's out or in somebody's hands?
You never know where these leaks come from, but do you have anything to say about GTA? Other than, I just feel like I can
just stay away from 2020. Just stay away from any release ever, or by opposite, if people are debating when to release their game, if you've seen that GTA is like coming winter or coming fall 2024, then don't put your game there. Just stay away from GTA. You're gonna get screwed, or GTA, don't come out around other games so I don't have to ignore them.
I have a feeling that the games lineup is just going, it's like piling on right now, and there's like no way around it. We got Mike with the Canadian $10 says, did you guys have a walkout moment in Starfield? Seeing the rings of Anzalon light up the night sky of Crete for the first time was a surreal experience and my all-time favorite. This is an interesting question. What do you
would
have?
have much more on this with how many things you've seen, but I'm still, I feel like in the beginnings. Frick. It's funny because the most like graphical moment to me was that conversation I had with Heller, and I was like, damn, dude, he's look good. But in terms of like world or environment or hopping off of a ship, I don't think I've had that moment yet, honestly. I feel like there was one and I can't remember what it was, but I don't think I've had that. What about you?
Yeah, and I Todd said that there's going to be like that walk out of the vault moment, and I think it was supposed to be when you come out of the mine in the opening moments.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, yeah.
And you come out and you walk in and the frontier lands, but I'm like, no, you already showed this stat in 2022. We already saw that, and if you're a content creator, you've seen it a million times. But I think, Mike, my walk out of the vault moment happened many times when I was inside a outpost and I came back out after finishing it, and the time of day on some moon had changed. Like when I talk about that orange Saturn that was in the horizon, it not only does it move across the horizon as you're orbiting around it in the game, but the light changed up and around it as it's lit in its solar system. So it moved all the way. If I was to move the camera at 90 degrees, it moved all the way over there, and it was mostly shadowed, and its orb was shadowed as the lighting changed in real time, which that stuff is so cool. And sometimes when I'm playing Starfield, I feel like this is kind of when's it going to pick up? I haven't had combat in a minute, and you land on some planet. You're like, oh my gosh, look at that. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And you've yet to, how many hours do you have into it?
Oh, so here's the thing. My thing says like 20, like literally 20 something hours, not like 21, 22, but like on hour 20 something. And, but I actually like cut out like 3 or 4 hours because there was like 3 or 4 hours where I was just trying to figure out the outpost stuff, and I just went,
oh yeah. Yeah, I totally did that. That was, I really did waste so much time being over encumbered, throwing stuff into the research station, trying to upgrade stuff that I can't upgrade yet. And
which, by the way, while I was on that journey, I think that was actually the closest moment. Is like I was landing on a ship because I was trying to look for the most ideal planet supposedly to make an outpost on. Which the only reason I was doing an outpost, by the way, was because I like accidentally came across like new crew members. I'm like, I want to add you to my crew. That'd be cool. And then I realized, oh shit,
in the bar.
I'm too exactly cool. Like I'm too full. I'm just gonna make an outpost so I can just store people there, and maybe it'll help me passively on the side. And that decision led to like 6 hours of me just trying to figuring out outposts, and I'm like, I should have just upgraded my ship, but I messed up my saves. And
I couldn't.
So
I tried to add cargo to my ship, and then I couldn't get the reactor and the grav drive and everything up to the task. And so I went to a planet and I dropped these huge crates, and they would fill up immediately. So I made another crate, and it filled up. I tried to make a third crate, and I don't have the resources. I'm like,
I've heard people say, like, don't touch outposts until you have beat the base game. Like, it's going to be distracting, and I can feel that already. Or just leave it.
It's really not like Fallout. You cannot play it like Fallout. You can't play it like Skyrim. It's so totally different. But I still love the game so much, and you have a lot to experience. Samurai, thank you so much for being here.
Going like, I'm tired of Kiwi storing people. That's right. I made the outpost to store people.
You're like, Sit here. You're like dropping off people.
That was literally
What is
the
that?
purpose. Like I just made it to store people that I didn't want to disappear. Because I Googled that too. I'm like, how come I lost this crewmate? I don't have this guy anymore. It's like, oh, if it's not one of the main NPC characters, they're gonna disappear the second that they're not assigned somewhere. I'm like, I didn't know that. I don't want to lose these people. I want an army. That's my motivation. I want to make like just a shit ton of crews that I could just swap them in and out or whatever. It's probably gonna be pointless, but.
Today, somebody on Twitter posted they had a crew member and 2 companion members in their ship, and they equipped him with the Paradiso swimwear. So if you're a guy, you get swim trunks, and if you're a girl, you get like a swimsuit with the same pattern. And he's like, I keep it lax in my ship. You know, all the women are wearing swimsuits. I'm like, oh, gosh. But that's the magic of Starfield. But
Awesome.
but Keeps, tell people. I'll put your YouTube link in the description. I just have your name in there right now. But tell people like what you have in the plans. Tell them about this video you're putting out tomorrow, how they can find it, how they can follow you.
Yeah, so my name's Silly, Kibiji, you know, but just Samurai Kibiji. I'm hoping I upload this tomorrow, but I basically very raw dog. That's a terrible way of describing a video, but I'm going to use that phrase. Just very raw discussion of like, I just want to talk about the success that Starfield is having and kind of what it means, you know, and how, because once upon a time, this is a fun fact, if you paid attention to the FTC court hearing, PlayStation was trying to make Starfield exclusive, you know?
Yeah.
If you didn't know that, now you know. And it's like, I just want to dive into that idea that this is Bethesda's first RPG release that is not just first party, but it is a console exclusive. And that's kind of a big deal. So it's like, that's what the video is about. I just want to like go over the success and maybe like, is this going to influence PlayStation as well? Nintendo's totally going to do their own thing. They don't care. But like, might this have other effects? Let's just see why. And like somebody earlier, I saw you laughed at it. I'm like, guess what? It made as much money in the first week as God of War Ragnarok did. Want to find out? Subscribe to the channel tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. That is a good way to catch them in.
It's not like in sales, but it's through the business plan, and that's what I'm going to try to explain in this video. So, I like to speculate games with you guys. That's what I do. So
yeah. Sorry, your name is Mag right now. I am not going to bother on the last 8 minutes of the show
does it say Mag?
changing that out. Yeah, this is your Mag. So now you're only half as good. But yeah, I appreciate it. I'll be gone next week. I'm taking a trip with my dad and my brothers, something I've never done ever since we've been adults, I suppose. So I'll be gone next Monday, and I appreciate everybody's support. Follow Keebs. I've got his YouTube channel in the chat, and I also have it in the description. I updated it just now, so I think you can see that if you refresh. But thank you for being here. We need 6 more likes to get to 500. When I get to 500, I do a little smile. So we appreciate you guys and everybody.
It doesn't end to this 500 likes. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it doesn't. We'll just stay here and talk about Starfield and putting companion characters in the bathing suit. That's just how it is. But no, bro, I appreciate you. It's cool to get to know you, and glad to have you on the show. This is the second time. So that's good, man. I like it. I'm very, very, very honored to have you here. And we're going to hit the outro and get out of here. I'm going to eat some dinner. It's let me check the Starfield watch. It's 7:30. I usually don't go the show this long, but Keeps, thanks again. Wave bye to the audience, to the studio audience.
We're
going to get out of here.
For having me. Appreciate it. Good to meet y'all.
Anytime, man. I appreciate it. We'll see you in a couple weeks. I'll send out a reminder. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Peace.